Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all having a good evening. Welcome Brandon, hey Bruno, and everybody else who is currently here. Alright fellas, so what is on the agenda today, you might ask? Well, Ironmace has finally released the developer Q&A. That was with Hunter Pence from 5 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago. They just released the video yesterday. And Ironmace's video only has under 2,000 views, so I know there's a lot of people that have not seen it. And I personally have also not watched it, and I figured instead of watching the Q&A off stream, I figured I would just go ahead and watch it on stream since I'm doing it anyway, and then we can kind of go over just go over everything that's going to be new for next wipe's content. I am going to do some games first, just to kind of give whoever wants to watch a chance to join. So we'll play like maybe a high roller game or two. And then we're going to go over the dev Q&A with Hunter Pence. So yeah, that is the plan for today. Hopefully y'all are doing good. Hey Witchy, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Dude, let me tell you. Let me freaking tell you guys. This game is so freaking easy playing off stream. I played for hour and a half, maybe 2 hours earlier in HR, and the lack of rats, third parties, and class counters that I have to deal with in high roller off stream compared to on stream is honestly laughable. It makes the game so freaking easy. I can really understand why a lot of streamers are choosing to play off stream to make video content versus streaming in like the current state of the game. Because I'm telling you, man, I had like some of the best 2 hours of PvP that I've had. If you compare it to the games I've had on stream, it's not even remotely close, man. It's so much easier. Yeah, it turns out when you don't have, people from stream following you around naked, just waiting to or even geared, just following you around, waiting to third party the entire match, because it's so easy to join with continuous. Yeah, it turns out the game becomes way, way easier. Who would have thought, right? It's your birthday, Brandon? Oh, well, happy birthday. How old are you? Oh, I've updated the build a little bit, by the way. So this might be a bold move. Barbarian. Alright? I've been thinking about it a lot. And I am considering dropping Robust from the Barb kit. I know that sounds insane, but I'm considering it. 8% max health is very, very good. It has been nerfed from 10%. And I've been, because Barbarian just has so many good perks in this game. Like, no joke. Barb has the pick of whatever the hell that you want to use. Like, Barb just... There are some real stinker perks and skills. Like, there are some ones that are just garbage. Like, Finishing Blow, for example, is hot garbage. Just not good. But what Barb lacks in some of the usable skills and perks, they make up for in perks that just do really, really well. So right now, what am I kind of thinking? I think Iron Will is still a must-take perk. I think you still always take this because magic users are just... Whenever you fight them, like, you kind of need it, or you don't really do too well against them. Two-hander is a perk that I am starting to realize is almost a requirement. The reason for this is that it bumps your quarterstaff from 10% to 20% armor pen. And that is enough to knock a 65% PDR cap player all the way down to 53, which is 1 health bar, okay? And 1 health bar is really freaking good. Really good. So, yeah, I'm kind of... I think two-hander is probably a required perk for me personally, because that armor pen buff on top of quarterstaff is good. And if you add it on Warmaw, which I've been using against druids, it's even better, because it gives you 30% armor pen, and against druid, that is really, really good, because it's really easy to hit, like, you know, bear form in the head. So, grab, like, headshot damage bonus Warmaw, and that's your druid tech. Hey, Matt, thank you for the dono. Appreciate that. What are my thoughts on Season 10 content plan? Seems quite a bit bleak, with a lot of changes coming late. The rogue changes seem a little bit OP with wall walking. Hopefully rogues can't climb into the boss room. So, yeah, I know there's a lot of changes coming for rogue and ranger, and we've talked about a little bit of concerns regarding the wall climbing possibly being broken. Because if you give a class mobility that is unreachable by other classes, it kind of gets to the point where it feels like you can't fight them if you're melee. And then your only option is to range them, and it just feels bad, because then, like, okay, let's say a rogue is wall climbing, and you kill them, well, now their body is stuck up top, like, stuck in a spot that you can't really loot. So then you have, like, a whole separate issue of, well, is that going to be annoying for the game? Probably gonna be broken. I will say, though, if Ironmace is willing to get rid of true invisibility, I am willing to see what tools they can give rogue that are not broken. I would rather fight a rogue that has good mobility than a rogue that is sitting invisible in a corner all game waiting to kill someone for free. So, as long as it is handled well from Paul, I am willing to kind of sit back and just see what they do. Again, this is under the assumption that rogue invisibility is going to be getting removed, and it's going to be getting replaced with very strong mobility skills. Also, I don't believe rogues would be able to get into boss rooms. As far as I know, every boss room is locked away. I guess except for, like, the Wyvern, since the Wyvern's, like, an open platform. But you can already jump up to the Wyvern anyway. But yeah, all the other rooms, I think, are closed spaces, right? So I don't think the wall climbing should really change that at all, as far as I'm aware. Hey, Love Syrup. I don't know if I said hi to you already, but we're doing good, man. I had a good day, good enough day. I just saw that Ironmace's dev Q&A was posted yesterday, or like 16 hours ago, something like that. So I wanted to kind of do an overview video, or an overview stream of that. I know I did an overview stream of the So Bad's Cliff Notes, but I heard from one of my viewers that is not here right now that apparently there was some kind of mistranslation, and some of the stuff that was on the notes might have been wrong. One of them being the two-handed weapons getting nerfed. Apparently that might not actually be what they said. So I want to rewatch the video for myself to confirm everything that everything that I saw for next season. I just want to make sure that everything I read was right, you know? I want to watch it anyway, so I figured it was better to do it on stream, you know? Shimmer effect when invisible. Yeah, a lot of rogues complained about that when it happened, but I think it's time to rip the band-aid off and start really thinking about balancing the class. I think true invis PvP is just not fun for the majority of the player base, so I feel like we're kind of to the point where it's really time to move on from that, I think. You mean on the walls of the boss rooms, Matt? Oh, I see what you're saying. So Are you afraid that rogues are gonna go into the boss room and find places that are unreachable by melee classes, and they're gonna use it to grief the boss? I see what you're saying. I hope that's not the case as well, because that would be pretty annoying to deal with. I'm still under the impression that Ironmace is planning to release a boss mechanic where you won't be able to grief people as easily, kind of like Mistfall Hunter's releasing. So I hope they end up doing something like that. Give Rogue new ability, flash step. Oh, anyway. All right, so I want to play a game while I kind of wait for everybody to get here. We'll probably do like probably just one game will be enough, and then I'll start going over the Q&A that Ironmace released last night. Because I do want to double check some of the info that was in that video. And double check. Oh, I kind of forgot to talk. So yeah, I dropped Robust from my build in favor of Crush because I'm tired of the door meta. I'm just so sick and tired of it. So we are going to run Crush for the time being. I also dropped Viking Sword, so my chase is kind of bad. But Warmaul is better against Longsword and Bear Form. So I'm kind of hoping that those can help carry. Ian, Ironmace, I couldn't find the dev Q&A anywhere because Ironmace didn't save the VOD. They just released the VOD yesterday, so we're gonna watch the one that they did with Hunter Pence. I know some of you might have watched that video already, but I never watched it. I never got to see it because they did it super late at night. It was like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. or something, so I was never able to watch it. So since Ironmace just released that Q&A, I wanted to go over it because there's some info in there that I wanted to clarify and double check. So yeah, we're gonna play one HR game, and then I'll probably start watching the Q&A. So we can kind of see what's going on for next wipe. Well, next wipe and season 10, 11, whatever. Oh yeah, so I'm kind of thinking I want to see if I can get away without relying on the what can we really call it besides Robust Crutch? If I can manage to play Barbarian successfully without Robust, it's going to open up my build a lot because I'd be able to run Crush without any downside, or you know, without a game losing downside, and that will help me with the chase and door, like this is general meta. Also, I can loot a little faster for like new season as well, which should be helpful. It's kind of my general thought process here. Also, Quarterstaff, as far as I'm aware, is one of the few weapons in the game that gets a movement speed or a like a net positive speed gain against someone who's shutting a door on you. So like if I shut a door, or I'm sorry, if they shut the door in front of me and I use the Quarterstaff, I think it's the quickest two-handed weapon in the game to break a door and keep moving forward to try to catch someone off guard. You know, my goal is to basically not let anyone run from me, and I'm hoping that Crush ends up helping out. Because there's a lot of kills that I miss out on, literally just because of, like, because I don't have Crush. So I'm hoping I can make this work. Hey, Mountain Hide. Yeah, well, that's part of what I like to do, is I like to analyze the builds that I run and consider if I can modify them to be more efficient / successful. And Crush is one of those perks that is honestly so insanely strong that I want to see if I can manage to run it in my kits. Also, Crush has the added benefit of giving +1 Crush impact power, which is really good for Warmaul against shields. It's also technically good against Round Shield for Quarterstaff, but that, like, usually doesn't matter, but yeah. Speaking of Crush, by the way. The great chase ensues. But he can't use the doors against me. Go ahead, shut the door. Incredible. Go ahead, shut the door as many times as you want, Bard. You can't do it. Because we have Crush now. Whoa, what? Oh, no. Shit, what a lucky-ass Bard. You're so lucky. You're so lucky, Bard. You're so lucky. I could have chased him the entire match. You can't get away. Crush Barb, you can chase indefinitely as long as you don't run into a third person or a third party. Damn. Oh, that Bard was so, like, boned, too. So obnoxious. I don't know, man. How did he not kill the Bard? Like, what are you even doing, bro? What are you doing? Bro ignored the Bard. He has a cloak. He has gear. What are we doing? Ah. Freaking eye roller, man. Bunch of shenanigans. What are we doing, fighter? We fighting or what? I can't fight you up there, so... What are we doing? By the way, I think this guy has a longsword, which is why I'm running a Wormhole. Because I will use Wormhole against a fighter. You think I'm stupid? Oh my god, there's a rogue. Oh shit, wait, there's a ranger. Oh my god. Wow, what a freaking loser. What are you doing up there? Dude, high roller players are just something different, man. That dude's sitting in the dark. I thought it was a rogue. It's a ranger. I'm glad that cleric didn't W key me. Oh my god, what a freaking game this has been. Fighter ignores the Bard. Ranger's sitting in a oh my god, this game is already we're so like this game. Clink, we'll be watching the Q&A shortly. Ironmace released a dev Q&A last night. It was the one from Hunter Pence from a few days ago. I never got to watch it, so I want to do a Q&A overview of that. I know, I got some real freaking weirdos in my game, man. Yeah, we are full send on the weirdos. We lost the kill on the Bard because of the fighter. And now we can't fight because that ranger's just like sitting there in the in an unreachable spot. So yeah, we're doing something today, all right. Yeah, I can kill that longsword fighter with Wormhole because you can definitely get around with it, but I can't fight him if he's gonna sit in the doorway. It's kind of like the Wormhole's like weakness. Doesn't really hit in doors too well. You need to be in the open. Now I'll tell you, that fighter is why I'm running Wormhole. Quarterstaff sucks ass at fighting longsword. It's like the biggest weakness of this weapon. It's so bad trying to fight longswords. But Wormhole's pretty good against it. Yeah, saying after this game, we'll be watching the overview that Ironmace released last night. It's the one from like 5 days ago or something like that. But I never got to watch it because they didn't release the video. What's going on over here? Are they... I don't really know what's happening. Is that ranger still sitting up there? Well, that dude's being a weirdo, man. Oh my god, dude, it's crazy here. Everybody's trying to kill that freaking ranger that's camping on the top of the elevator, the little elevator thing. This is so silly. Hey, Scoom, welcome. You're welcome for the sticky stick video. You're welcome. I'm having a really hard time doing much this game. Everybody's just playing really weird. Oh, dude, he's still up there. What the hell, man? Oh my god. Yeah, what do we do? We might be cooked this game, boys. We might have to reset. I'm not sure if we're gonna, I don't know if we can really do much here. I can't, like, fighting is out of the question because this ranger's, like, just sitting up top, so. Yeah, not really a whole lot I can do. Last thing I want is to, you know, is to die because we just fight with the ranger sitting there. No, it's a ranger up there, not even a rogue. Yeah, the ranger sitting up there just trying to get free kills. That's just typical high roller PvP, really. Oh shit. That's what I was waiting for. Bait out his PDR skill and I win this fight. Well, win is a strong word. I win if I get to actually fight him. But if he runs like this, there's not much I can really do. God, we're gonna be running for a while, boys. All right. Have I convinced you guys how good Crush is yet? Is that enough to convince you? Because I don't know if I could have secured that kill without Crush. What do you guys think? Are we cooking? I feel like we're cooking a little bit. What do you think? Yeah. He's geared too, by the way. Yeah, he has gear. It's not like it was Squire or anything. I don't know, man. I think I might be sleeping on Crush. I think we might have to go back to using Crush in PvP. You think Crush won me that? Yeah, because without Crush, he resets. Like he just resets for free if I don't have Crush. There's nothing I can do. The only thing I can do to make this kit better, honestly, is to build for movement speed. Because right now my kit is slow as shit, is the problem. We're 96%. Honestly, if I built for like 100%, if I built for being faster, baseline, that cleric is probably dead even quicker, honestly. But you know what's really nice about Crush too? I have Frannies, and the moment they have their back to me and they start taking Franny damage, they never get away. And then they can't heal and I can just kind of kill them. Like, Frannies give me a really big advantage here. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's gonna be weaker against, like, straight-on Barb 1v1s and shit, but I think Crush might be the play in solos now. By the way, we're gonna pull up that, we're gonna do the video review here after this, you know, after we get out of this game. Yeah, the taunt was really... I think it's really just karma. Whenever players start taunting when they're running, I usually, you know, it's like... whatever. $75 out of 100 Franny damage? He should have fought me. I mean... That's... I mean, it just is what it is. Should have fought me. All right. I'm very interested in what stuff was missed from this Q&A. Because this Q&A is everything that's supposed to be happening for the next season. So I'm really, really curious what's going to be going on. But yeah, I think this is going to be my new go-to build for High Roller. Two-hander, Iron Will, Crush, Berserker, Rage, and Savage Roar. I want to run Lungs, because Lungs would be good for this build, but I can't, like, fit it. I could take off Berserker, but I feel like Berserker is too strong. I don't know if I can drop this without trolling. So yeah. Alright. So, Oompax, I've been told, I was told by a viewer that some of the information that I got from that Excel sheet is mistranslated from the main developer Q&A. So some of the info that should be gone over in the video should be different, or at the very least, some stuff is not going to be completely one-for-one. So I wanted to watch the video for myself to confirm like all the changes that are coming for next wipe. And I was going to watch it anyway, so I figured I'd do it on stream. Pretty much. And Ironmace didn't release this Q&A until yesterday. They took a long... They took their sweet time releasing this video. So, I've been kind of waiting for it. I'm going to move my camera up as well. Let's see. So we're going to move that. Both the desktop audio. I'm gonna close Dad. I'll just reopen. Yeah, I shouldn't need Dad, at least for the time being. So I'll keep it closed and I'll reopen it after we watch this. Okay. Video was locked before. I couldn't find it. The developers didn't release this Q&A. They just didn't do it. They waited almost a week to release it, and I wanted to watch the Q&A for myself. I wanted to confirm some of the stuff that's in there. Yeah, I'll move the camera to the top so I don't block anybody. One thing you hope they do in the near future is add tokens that can be used as placeholders for raw gold, so I won't have to buy artifacts on the market. I doubt it's going to happen, to be honest with you. Who's that guy? Which one? Which guy? SDF. Maybe that's Hunter Pence. Maybe that's the guest. Because I don't know who that is. That's Terry, right? And then that's Paul. Because Paul wore that mask on the last time we watched. The last Q&A we watched. Paul had the same getup on. So. Okay, let me know if the audio is good when we start watching. I want to go ahead and get into this.
Right, can you hear us? What's up, everybody?
Hello?
From Korea. South Korea. I'll bring up the chat here in a second. Sorry, guys. This is my first time streaming here at the Ironmace Studios. I'm with Terry. Yeah.
Hi.
We got Terry. We got Paul, the legend himself.
Oh, God. Okay, just so you know, the audio is not on my side. The audio, whatever, it's the video. I can't do anything about it. Just so you know.
And we got SDF, the mastermind. So I'm going to give them a round of applause. Thank you all for coming. SDF, Terry, and Paul. That is correct. Now, we might need to give a little bit of time for the community to get here. They have everything is up for them and ready to find here on my channel. So they did the honor since I'm here and visiting the studio and hosting to let me do this on my channel. So thank you all for coming and stopping by. And we're going to get excited because it is time for the end of season 8 and we're moving into season 9.
Yes. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming all the way out here, you know, visiting.
SDF is not gone. That was a huge misinformation that was pulled from the community out of... SDF was never gone. SDF gave lead development of Dark and Darker to Paul and or Terry, but SDF is still like in control of Dark and Darker. He is not gone. That has never been the case. It was just people taking what they said and like construing it wrong, pretty much. He was never going to be gone from Dark and Darker. He might not be making all of the key decisions anymore, so he'll be more hands off, but he's not gone, yeah.
Giving us that energy, the vibe, the passion. It's been amazing. And so we're getting that hype too, you know. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Terry. So
thank you so much. Yeah.
For all of you, they showed me around the studio. I got to meet and shake hands.
Music is too loud on the OBS.
Okay. All right.
Oh, God.
Music's good. Sounds good, Terry. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Ironmace, thanks for the raid. Right. Sounds solid. All right. So. We got the music down, so I'm going to let y'all in. They let me see a lot of the studio. I got to meet a lot of the people behind the scenes, and it is a fabulous team of passionate people, baseball fans as well. There was a couple baseballs, so if you know, you know. I was a former baseball player, current broadcaster, and an absolute lover of Dark and Darker. I have over 7,000 hours within the game. I've played with some of your favorite streamers because they're kind enough to put...
He has more hours than I do. I'm a noob compared to this guy. He has almost double my hours. I only have 4,000. That's insane. Oh my God, 7,000? 7,000? Man, he's a bigger nerd than me. Shit.
Put me on their backs and take me into the arena and the dungeon. And I am not a staff member. I'm actually just here on passion and love and the game that is probably, obviously if I put 7,000 hours in, I love this game very much and enthused to be here. So with that being said, there's a lot of fun things.
Sorry, let me modify the stream title really quick. Sorry, give me a second. Because we're watching the video now. I had the begins in 30 minutes for like the whatever. Yeah, let me just fix it really quick. It'll be fast. Dev Q&A, video overview, next season info. Sorry, it'll look like kind of funny if I still have that 30-minute thing in there. It'll be quick. Okay, all good. Yeah, we chillin'. Okay, I think we're good.
exciting things, and we only have an hour, so I'm excited to get to it, to season 8 to season 9. We're at the end of season 8, and first and foremost, let's start with kind of a recap. How do we feel? And Paul, I'm going to give you a lot of credit from my end. This felt like a very beautiful direction. Season 8, there was a lot of great balance changes, but how do you here at Ironmace feel about season 8?
Okay, 그러니까 시즌 8.
어떻게 생각하는지.
너무 편해졌어요.
Please translation.
Okay, I'll be the translator.
전반적으로 정말 여러분들이 이제 기대하는 바는 많았겠지만은 그거 이제 부족할 수 있지만은 정말 그 필요로 하는 것들을 하나씩 개선을 했던 시즌이었고 저희 내부적으로는 물론 아쉬움이 많지만은 꽤 많은 부분에 있어서 개선이 있었다고 생각하고 다음 시즌에서도 그렇게 이어나갈 수 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
Okay, so I know the expectations are high. And so we couldn't meet those expectations, but in terms of what we wanted to do to show that like the consistency and just meeting our goals to show the community, we feel like, oh, we made progress there. I kind of forgot, but I'll add my part is that I 100% agree with him. So, you know, there was something that we wanted to show with this season was that, hey, we want to show that, you know, just saying, the experiments testing is over, trust us, we have to do more than words, right? So that's why this time was like, oh, even if it's little wins, keep on doing, you know, there's that meme, it's like, oh, we'll take 1 step forward and then 3 steps back, right? It's like, this time, even if I take a quarter step forward, we just want to move forward each time. And I think this was the first season that we try to do that consistently, show that a lot of credit to the team, a lot of credit to the people here to do that, and so I do think that we work our butts off to do that, and we probably didn't meet the expectation, and so we want to keep on building this for season 9. That's kind of the main strategy, right? So, and then hopefully we get.
I will say, I don't know about you guys, I think this season of Dark and Darker overall has been the best season that we've had pretty much. I honestly, in many seasons, I don't really remember the last season we've had that's been this consistent, considering STF had, like, a lot of the seasons, the last previous ones have been filled with, remove solos, remove duos, constant back and forth balance changes, constant back and forth gear changes. There's just been so much stuff that's been wrong. I would say this season has overall been the best that we've seen. I do have some gripes. The workshop is too expensive. I think it's not very new average player friendly at all, and I would like to see it change to be that way. I also think the scrapping system, you should be able to scrap weapons in dungeon to help basically give you a use for all the random garbage you find. So just like a few things here and there that I would like to see updated. I actually made a Reddit post earlier, I know. Not very often I do that. I made a post about Fire Deep. I think Fire Deep is currently a very lackluster map. Whenever I go down, it's usually either empty or it's like one singular boss farmer. I think Fire Deep is really not seeing much play from the community, and I think there are some updates they really need to do. I hope that Fire Deep does not get forgotten about in favor of doing the Inferno update. I think you'll hear about it sometime later in the video, but the Inferno update that we know is coming. Because the current state of Fire Deep right now is so bad that we're barely going to see any play next season unless they update it. Is this happened a few days ago? Yes, but I never got to watch the Q&A because it didn't exist. There was no VOD given by Ironmace, and they did it at like 3 in the morning, so I never got to watch it. So I wanted to watch the Q&A that happened that I never got to see. So
enough momentum going, and then we could start doing like the real like the cool stuff, right? So
okay, so
yeah, it's not my fault. Ironmace waited 5 days to release their Q&A. I would have watched it sooner if I had had the chance to do it.
I definitely saw there's going to be some things that we're going to dive into about going into Season 9. Obviously, the addition of new skills. You mentioned some new skills coming to some new classes that weren't able to quite hit in Season 8, but they might hit in Season 9. You had Whirlwind. It was extremely strong, probably too strong for the initial. You balance that out. It feels really good. It can be fun. It can be usable, and it can be beaten. The fighter with a couple new skills and new passives as well. So there's some more new play styles, and we saw a lot of success from Fighter and Barbarian in the arena this season. And that leads us to the end of Wipe. We have the obviously the arena tournament, which is going to be really exciting, coming in the middle of April. I believe it's
next week,
17th, 18th, 19th.
Yes.
So make sure you tune in to watch the Warlords battle there. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll dive into that. But let's start with, can y'all tell us, the speculation is Uniques and Arena. What is the end of season Wipe? SDF, I want to ask SDF here, or we going to ask Paul? All right.
Yeah, so we'll go to the architect of the
architect
of the event and get it from his mouth. So, 그 어리나는 어떻게 할 건지 이번에 end season event 있잖아요.
아레나는 일단은 여러분들이 지금까지 반응 중에서 가장 좋았던 거가 이제 아티팩트, 기어 무제한 아레나가 될 것이고, 기어를 잃지 않을 겁니다.
Yeah, so basically he's saying it's not even uniques, it's all the way up to artifacts. So it's no limit. What
I saw some people complaining about this, and I'm not sure if it's a majority or if it's one of those like vocal minority things, but I saw a lot of people complaining that artifacts are very expensive, and it's supposed to be like an end of season event that again kind of locks out the average player unless they grinded a shit ton over the season. Like, obviously I have enough gold to like buy artifacts and kits and whatever I need to. This isn't really affecting me, but I have seen some complaints that it's not really very like, you think of an end of Wipe event and it feels like something that everybody should be able to participate in, and like the drop rates for artifacts aren't even increasing until after, I think it's after the event will start. I guess we'll hear this shortly. So you know, a lot of people are just not able, they can't afford hundreds of thousands of gold to be able to buy some of these artifacts and like the gear that's required. So I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that, but I've seen some complaints about it.
Whatever you can grab your hands on, bring it into the arena. And then the thing is, we want it, you know, just have fun. No gear fear. Go in there, you play, you lose. There's no MMR for that. It's just, hey, just go in and just beat each other up.
Everyone can play with everyone. It doesn't matter your rating. You can play with all your friends, with all your classes. You can share your gear.
To build on that,
boost artifact drops.
important is you can play every day.
So you can play. It's going to be open. The arenas is going to be open until the day before the wipe, and then on top of that, we want people to just be in the dungeons. It's like a festival, right? So in the dungeons itself, we're just boosting up the drop rates. Yep. So artifact drop rates is going to be doubled. What is it? So hey, for people that have some of the hardest.
So artifact drop rates are going to be doubled. As far as I'm aware, Ghost King drops artifacts at a rate of 4.5%, and then stuff like the Fire Colossus is 1.5%. So you'll get an artifact from Ghost King roughly 1 out of 11 times, assuming that is accurate. Like, that's pretty good, don't get me wrong. Getting an artifact 1 in 11 from Ghost King is quite solid. But it's still going to require a lot of grinding for the end of the season. I mean, how many hours do you think it would take you to farm Ghost King 11 times? Probably a few hours, right? You figure you might die a few times. You have to make your way down to, to Inferno. Then you're all, like, if you're running a trio, you have to share the artifacts. So you're only getting it with 3 of you. So you're getting less, like, total money. Like, even double it, I think it's going to be pretty hard for the average player to get access to, like, the good artifact weapons. So this end of season event seems to be more tailored towards the veteran players, such as myself, versus the average player who Like, I don't think people are going to really come back for this end of wipe event because they're going to log on, realize they can't afford the artifacts, and they're going to leave, you know? I would almost like to see, I don't know like what exactly can be done, but I would like to see the player population be able to go up because of the event, and I think this is not going to do it. I'm not saying it's bad, like, you know, like, I'm not saying that the event is not a good thing. I'm just kind of looking at the other side of things, of the, you know, the average player, and I'm wondering, like, okay, do you think they'll be able to afford these artifacts to kind of play in Arena? Because if you don't have artifacts, Arena's not going to be worth playing. Straight up, like, if you're not running artifacts and you try to play Arena, you're going to get smoked. Artifacts are very hard to overcome in a normal circumstance. So to have to fight an artifact round after round, the advantage that they're going to have is going to be probably overwhelming, and it's going to be really hard to fight them at all. So you're really going to need artifacts to play. And I think it's going to be kind of hard for the average player to get. You know what I mean? Because like in Arena, it's a closed on environment. So it's kind of hard to really, you know, counter an artifact team because they can't lose it. So even if like you maybe win a round on them, overall they're probably going to win more often than not because they just have such an overwhelming advantage. Oh, Espada, they're speaking Korean. I'm pretty, yeah, it's Korean that Paul speaks. Oh, life after death. Oh yeah, I hope they think about that. If life after deaths are able to be stacked, you're gonna have barbarians with 6 life after deaths cheesing in Arena if they don't like have a stop to that. True.
It's the quests that are still remaining. There's going to be a boost to all the hunting loot drop rates.
I know the tiers of volcano.
Yeah. So like especially, so he came to me this morning. He's like, "What are we gonna do about the tiers of the volcano?" Right? So we're upping that too.
There's gonna be something for the tiers of our of the
volcano. Yeah, to drop more frequently. And then the last thing is like, hey, if for people that haven't got their demigod, you know, or the race up on the adventure rank, is we're going to give a big boost to the adventure rank points during this last 2 weeks.
All right.
As we lead into the new season. So we want to just like be, you know, have a festive mood about that.
That is a festival. So not only do you get more chance to go and find some artifacts if you don't have them, you can trade them with your friends, which is kind of cool as well. And you can get in the arena. It'll be full wide open. That is really, really exciting news. So yeah, good stuff, man. W right there. We're not going to lose our artifacts in the arena this time, Chad. That's exciting. And also the incentive to get into the dungeon, because I love bossing. So I'm very thankful for that. Moving on.
Yeah, last season, I didn't play last season. Didn't they make it so you could bring artifacts into Arena, but if you lost the round, you would lose your gear? But if you won, you wouldn't get the enemy's artifacts, so they were like, it was just maximum risk and 0 reward. Something like that. I feel like I remember something like that happening when I was like not playing at the time. Oh, they already fixed life after death in Arena. It's only 1 time per match, no matter what. Okay, so we're good then.
On to some more fun topics. So that's the end of this season. You have a lot. Do we have a date? I think there was a couple people that asked about the date. I want to try to keep up with the chat here. So what's the date that happens, that we get the wide open arena?
So the arena starts, it's going to be, I think the tournament. So we have the final, you know, the arena, the actual season. So that's going to be that weekend, 17th, 18th, 19th. And then after that is when the arena season ends. And then now we just open up like the...
So the 20th,
everyone.
basically,
Yes.
April 20th through the end of Wipe, which is the 28th is the new season?
20, yeah, so I think it might be, we might end it a day early just because for like...
To get ready for the next season, to do the transfer. All right.
I don't remember hearing that. So when I was going over the notes, I don't think I ever heard that it might be early. Okay, so the wipe, I've been telling people the wipe is the 28th. It sounds like the wipe is actually going to be the 27th, not the 28th. So if any of you need to finish out your religion rewards, your demigod, whatever, make sure you get on before the 27th. Don't plan to do it like last minute on the 27th, because the servers might go down early. Yeah, so the wipe will be the 28th, but the servers will go down the day before. I didn't know that, so good to know.
So that is really exciting. We have a lot of fun stuff. Honestly, for me, the end of wipes is a lot of times my favorite time because you do have all those artifact battles, and now we're gonna have a lot of things to do with it. Moving on a little bit to, we'll get to balance, but I think I want to get more to next season and some exciting things. So let me dive in here a little bit. What are you most excited for in this next season? What kind of, let's start with, are we going to see Ranger skills perks? Are we going to see Rogue skills perks?
Yes.
What classes are we looking at getting some changes moving into Season 9, first and foremost?
So
that you can tell us.
Yeah, so the overview is, you're spot on the money, is that those are the two. Again, earlier we did we made the promise that we were going to try to get it out this season.
It was a quick season, though. This was one of the shortest seasons we've had.
So I think I'll also dive into that too, is a little bit of changes of strategy on the length of the season, at least in the near future. But first of all, yeah, it was a little bit a shorter season. The previous one was over 5 months, right? And so I think
I just want to say, I think Ironmace doing shorter seasons overall is going to be more positive for the community as long as the wipes go like this recent wipe did. I feel like after 2 to 3 months, it gets to the point where, because the gear is so frequent, right? Like there's so much gear in the dungeon. It's super easy to like get into like the point where you have like unlimited bis, basically. Like I'm at the point where my stash is so full of gear and gold, I really can't run out. I think 3 months is perfect because about a week or two ago is when I started to like kind of get to the point where I'm like, yeah, like what do I really do? I have no real like goals to go towards. I just kind of have a infinite flowing stash, and that's pretty much it. So if this season was going for 5 months, I don't even know what I would do for the next 3 months. So, as far as retention goes, it's pretty clear that after maybe 2 months or so, the player base really starts to drop. Also, I think Arc Raiders seasons are like 2 months, maybe 3, somewhere in the 2 to 3 month period. And I know Arc Raiders seasons are different than Dark and Darkers. I'm not trying to like compare them one for one, but I do think that wipes in games like this are very important. Like you can't do them too fast because then it kind of hinders the game experience. But I think this 3-month period that they're doing is going to be overall better for the game in trying to like keep up like with players, Argo doesn't have wipes. Well, they do have wipes. They might be player allowed wipes, like you have to choose to wipe yourself, but they do have wipes. It like the wipes do happen.
a little bit too strung out, right? This one, it feels a little bit short, but I think, okay, there's a strategy to this, and we want to use the season, the next wipe, to push out like, oh, okay, here's a point where we make a little bit of a jump each time, right? And then throughout the season, we did the hot fixes, right? And we're trying to make him a little bit more predictable. It's like, oh, where you see us making the gradual improvements. I think that's a strategy that worked this season, and we're going to try to carry that forward for the next season. Unfortunately, because it was a little bit shorter, so it's going to be Rogue and Ranger. Those are the two for this season.
Okay, Rogue and Ranger.
Yeah, and we're going to have these kind of shorter seasons. We're kind of targeting 3 months. So then the next class updates is going to be the wipe after that. Okay. And it's going to be a fairly similar, like, kind of shortened wipe.
Three-ish month season with
3 months.
with
So we're targeting around 3 months each time.
That's pretty quick churning.
And then the one after that is going to be maybe the Bard and the Warlock. So
I think Bard desperately needs a class update. After the recent change to Shriek of Weakness, which, don't get me wrong, Shriek was pretty insane. Killing bosses 50% faster is kind of hard to balance around. So while I don't necessarily blame Ironmace for feeling like they needed to patch it, it probably should have been patched years ago. But also, there's a bigger issue that Bard kind of has no real identity right now. Like, Bard is, like, most of Bard's buffs do not buff your teammates. They don't excel in PvE anymore. So I don't really know what... I just don't really know what it's doing at this point. You know? Just a thought. And yeah, this is Paul. And this is Hunter Pence. This is like a guest speaker, whatever you want to call it.
So it's like, hey, yeah, we'll go through and get these kind of refreshes to the stuff that's already in there, and you know,
and still adding on, because you made some big changes amongst the sorcerer, even in the middle of this one, that made some pretty big impact, added some playability, which I appreciated as a melee sorcerer myself. So something similar, like you're going to have constant balance updates, but
Yes.
the ranger and the rogue.
But we want to have those kind of marquee ones at each start of season, so you could be like, oh, okay, this is
Really
something
hype.
that's going to really make some kind of big difference.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
There's coffee.
Oh yeah.
And there's some, oh, okay, some pictures and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. Wait, can I show these?
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
show
of
these?
course. Yeah, you can
Our
show
guys
whatever.
can't see it, but if y'all can see it, oh yeah, you can see that clear. Hold on, let me get closer.
So,
Look at this photo, y'all. All right, so where is this? This is the Inferno? Is this in Crypts? Is this a whole new map? What's happening here?
So this season is going to be, there's going to be a rework of the Inferno. The original concept, I think people that played the original playtest when we did the first Inferno, it was very different from what's out there on the live server right now, right? And so, and then the way that it kind of changed into the version of the live server was, there was internal stuff that went that way, and then for a while we weren't really happy with that direction, that kind of the bloody the Inferno. And for us, in our, especially SCF's vision, it was more of the fire and the brimstone and the demons
Sulfur.
and the sulfur, and so it was like, oh, okay, you know, now we have that kind of freedom to go back and say, hey, why are we doing something that we're not even that passionate about? It's like, oh, we want to we have that chance. And so this season was like, okay, you know, we had that shortened season. What can we really realistically accomplish in that like nine weeks of development? It's like, this is something we always wanted to return to. So that's what we're working on. And so it was like, oh, okay. And we want a cool ass demon boss in there, right? So that's a
boss. This is there's
boss.
a new boss in the Inferno, and it's not gonna be the bloody third level that we're used to. It's gonna be Inferno, fire, sulfur.
Fire. Yeah, so when you
yeah.
hear the word Inferno, is like, it should be fire, Inferno, and like, you know, things.
More demonic or
You know, I don't even know what OG Inferno looks like. It's been so long, and I spent most of my time playing in Goblin Caves, because that's when I started playing the game. I don't even know what I don't know what it looks like without seeing like a video of it.
Yeah.
So new, and this is just the third layer.
So it's a third layer. And so what this brings is that it's not, you know, it'll look visually different too, but at the same time, so there's two things that we want to do. We want to go back to the visual setting that we're more accustomed to, like, you know, the kind of more traditional fantasy. And then the second thing was like, the other thing that we really disliked about the Inferno right now is that, you know, we come, I think we mentioned it a bunch of times, we come up from the FPS, like Quake, you know, those kind of, where movement in a first-person perspective has to feel smooth, right, and elegant.
Current Inferno is too annoying to move.
Like, there's all these...
I remember we talked about this a couple of days ago. My understanding, I guess they'll get to it soon, I would assume so. My understanding is the new boss is going to be a separate boss from Ghost King. So maybe it'll be a dual boss room, kind of like Troll and Cyclops, or what is it, Banshee and oh my god, what's the other, whatever the other boss is in Ruins. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, but yeah, maybe similar to those double boss rooms, I would assume.
Little things and like, it has a good like organic feel, but that's, first of all, that wasn't exactly what we intended, and now we want to go back to like
Spectral.
where movement matters, where things you don't get caught in stuff.
You have an environment that you can use to your advantage or disadvantage.
And so, so exactly, it's gonna be like what you see is what you get. It's supposed to be more like, oh, I could look at that, I could figure out what the strategy is, instead of like, oh, why I made this jump and then I got caught on like a little spike or something. I don't know. Okay, get rid of all of that. Again, it's going to the more, the demonic Inferno now, and so there's
whole
gonna
new
be,
mobs.
So new mobs. There's going to be a little bit of a difference. I don't know if we're going to hit it right off. Again, we need a little bit of polishing, but we wanted to have a little bit of a different vibe. Is like there's going to be a lot more sub boss grade. So it's because
and there's new sub bosses.
So new sub bosses with a lot of their underlings.
Are we losing like the how?
It sounds like Inferno is going to be possibly very difficult. If this is something I've been talking about for a while. If Ironmace does not start to balance their maps based on whether you're playing solo, duo, or trio. I know that Ironmace mentioned reducing the overall mob density just across the board. But if they do not balance the mob, if they don't balance mobs based on whether you're playing solo, duo, or a trio, it's gonna. I can already see it being really imbalanced if you're playing solo, and then being probably pretty easy if you're playing trio. It feels like it always ends up feeling that way. Because like when you go down to Hell in trio, it doesn't really feel like it's that scary, at least right now. As long as everybody has like a general idea of what they're doing, it's pretty easy to kind of like kill everything as 3 people. But the moment you go to solo, it's way harder to fight stuff one-on-one. So if the stuff does not like end up getting balanced, I can already foresee it maybe getting very lopsided in favor of just playing the map in trios versus going down solo. Now I say this with no real info or insight on what's gonna happen. But we do know that Ironmace does not balance based on the mode, even though they've mentioned doing that in the past. Like in Discord, SDF has said that they were going to balance based on like solos and duos, and they haven't done it yet. So hard to say if that'll ever happen or not, even though we know SDF has said it in the past.
The dog and the abomination. I don't know the names of. I forgot the names of them exactly. But are we losing? I always called him Groot. Are we losing those guys? The evil Groot.
So they might get like a little visual touch up to kind of. So they're not so out of place, but then I think, so that's the other thing is like some of these, people that know us is like, hey, we bought a lot of these monsters from the asset store and stuff, right? But the thing is like, but we have to rebuild all the animation, we have to rebuild all the behaviors, and so. Even though it was bought here, is like, we put our little touch on it. And so it does kind of become like, a signature of Dark and Darker. And I think the monsters are something that's a little bit, has a stronger tie than just that visual. And for us, it's like, that's something that we could put up with. Like, okay, the demon dogs, so they're gonna still be there.
Okay. Yeah. And how big is this map or floor going to be? How many new modules? Is it going to be the same, like static, the same modules every time in the same places, or? So
for the most part right now we're starting off with just revamping a lot of the current ones, and then the ones that had, so your knowledge that you have right now, Inferno, it'll still be useful for like 80%. And then there's going to be some modules that we just couldn't rework. We had to just go in and be like, this is okay. So just throw it out. We have to start again. Okay, so it's going to be like similar modules with new monsters. Yeah. So a lot of it is just the reskin with the relook, but then with the new monsters and the new monster settings, and then There's some that we couldn't save at all, so those are going to be completely new modules.
Okay, so some new modules, some old modules, and a whole new boss. So is the Ghost, what happens to the Ghost King? Is the Ghost King out for this season?
No, he's still there,
No,
but
yeah.
yeah.
We're gonna have to find him? He's in a new location?
We're still considering this, yeah. But like, there's a new big bad,
Okay.
so
okay.
that's when
Okay,
you, yeah.
we have a new boss to look forward to on level 3. Now, coming back a little bit, because
Yeah, so I will say a big complaint for the community has been that Ghost King is such an easy fight. If you've ever fought Ghost King as a trio, you can watch like good trios kill Ghost King in under a minute. And Ghost King also has the best artifact drop chance of any other boss in the game. It's the highest percentage. I think it's 4.5% for Ghost King. And to give you like a comparison, I think Fire Colossus is 1.5%. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure those are the numbers. So right now, the best reward boss in the game is like one of the easiest. So it feels very like wrong. So I'm hoping that maybe like if they're gonna give Inferno bosses like this super crazy loot that really is not that it's not that hard to farm. I don't know. I feel like they really need to make the boss at least a little bit harder. But also you have to worry about the boss griefing. Because right now it can be kind of hard to do bossing because it's so easy for players to go into the boss room and mess up the fights and whatever. That's kind of a whole different issue that they're trying to fix now. But I don't think it's going to be ready for next season. So I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do it. But I remember reading in that document that the new one is going to be pretty hard. So considering how hard Fire Deep's boss ended up getting, or just kept getting updated, I imagine the same thing will happen to the Inferno boss too.
as you mentioned Rogue and Ranger additions, can you give us any insight into what kind of things, how many things,
Okay,
or
yeah,
are these
so this
all
is-
surprise?
내가?
More up, yeah, Paul and SDF.
뭐 내가 설명할까?
뭐 그게
아, 오케이. 오케이. 제가 but 그걸 몰라요 지금
Okay, so-
지금 전체가 다 구현이 잘 되고 있는지 어떤 게
Yes.
빠졌는지 이걸 요즘에 안 보고 있으니까.
Okay, we're working on it.
Yeah.
So we're in the polishing stages of some of these new perks and skills are pretty. They're on the same level as like Whirlwind and stuff.
So they're going to be a little bit overtuned kind of thing? Is that what you mean?
So for sure,
Maybe.
there's going to be stuff that's going to be overtuned for sure. That's just us. But there's stuff right now is like it's there implemented and it works mechanically, but to get to the production polish is we're going to be working furiously. So it might come in a little bit later. So
This makes it sound like the perks and skills aren't really ready, but they're going to release them anyway, and they're going to be broken as hell. Because Whirlwind on release was actually game changing. Like every Barb had Whirlwind for quite a while. This doesn't ensue a lot of confidence in the the start of the season for these perks and skills.
one of the things, I'll give the example that's right in front of my
Yeah,
face
of course.
right now.
Disarm and Flag were also very good as well.
Rogues are going to get wall riding.
climbing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think Rogue have a potential for breaking the game, but Paul will prevent that.
Rogue has already
worry
broken.
about that.
Rogue has already
Players.
broken the game. So there is a lot of chat
Don't
about.
worry.
There's a lot of chat about balance, and,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get into balance. And I guess one of the ones that like every stream I went into before I came here. So this is gonna be directed at you, Paul.
Yeah.
Rogues climbing on the walls and being able to fly and go invisible and move 20 steps, and then stab you and silence you. I think a lot of people. And we understand that this game is never going to be completely balanced, and there's going to be things that are really difficult, but like it feels really bad to keep dying to rogues invisible out of nowhere, moving infinitely long and silencing you, and you not playing the game.
Hunter Pence is just spitting straight facts right now. There's like 10% of the community, like the minority of rogues that enjoy just ruining other people's fun, that enjoy sitting in corners, invis, and getting free kills. But then there's also the rogue players that enjoy actually playing the game, and they run like Rupture and Cutthroat, and like it's so much more of an engaging playstyle because I also prefer playing Rupture, Cutthroat, Rogue, like in comparison to the sit in corners and wait gameplay. It just feels really bad for the game. It's not fun to fight against, and it's really not fun to play. I've heard murmurs, and I guess we'll hear here in a minute if they talk about it too, but I've heard that apparently that playstyle is going to be getting gutted or changed in the future. And I very much hope that ends up being the case, because boy oh boy is full loot PvP very unfun when you die to something that feels like there's no counterplay. And if a rogue just so happens to be sitting invisible in a corner and you happen to walk by them, there's no audio cue because the rogue doesn't move, and there's no visual cue as long as the rogue activates his hide on time. And then at that point, like let's say you're a caster wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock or whatever, there's no getting away from that. Like if a rogue with ambush and Cutthroat gets on top of you, you are going to die. You cannot get away from it. You have double ambush proc. They're too fast, and the silence is too long. Like, caster wizard can never hope to survive long enough against a landmine rogue. It's one of those things that just feels really bad to fight.
Game. Are you addressing rogue invisibility? Many streamers are kind of talking about this. I think it's a pretty widespread collective that invisibility in the game is painful. And I know they're getting new skills and stuff, but is that something that's going to be addressed, or what are your thoughts on that, Paul?
invisibility.
네.
So 얘기해 주세요.
일단
편하게.
This is
No, it's fine.
Go easy, go easy.
I request it. Anyway, 일단은 여러분들이 제기하는 인비지의 문제에 대해서는 잘 알고 있고, 그다음 이번에 이제 새로운 스킬로 갭 클로저들이 많이 들어갈 거예요. 그래서 로그가 더 할 수 있는 것들이 많아질 거고, 그러면 그에 맞게 밸런스, 인비지에 대한 밸런스도 같이 고려할 수 있는 이제 타이밍이 됐다고 생각을 합니다.
Yeah, so okay, what he's saying is because of the new skills that are going in, so he's saying is there's a lot of new skills. What they do functionally is they help close gap, okay? But because of that, so he's being very polite and saying it might be time, the time is coming up for rogue invisibility's time in our game might be coming up. So you heard it from his mouth.
All right, well,
it's time.
There's the statement I was looking for. I didn't know if they talked about it here or not, but this guy's face says it all. It's like my exact like thought process reaction. Like, are we actually gonna get rid of this playstyle? Like, please, man.
Or a significant revamp or relook into it. Okay, so
repose.
Was he here? Is he here?
There's a lot of W's in the chat from some casters.
Okay.
Repose is one of the best, if not the best rogue, and he plays a shit ton of rogue. And even Repose does not want rogue to be balanced around invisibility. You know, and I know like one person's opinion does not necessarily dictate what a class should or should not do. But you know, when you have rogue players even saying that like invis is a problem and the game probably shouldn't be balanced around true invisibility, you know, maybe it's time, you know, it's time to just rip the band-aid off and figure out something more fun and interactive for rogues to do that is not just like sit in a corner and wait for free kills.
Example, Rogue has Shadow Step.
Shadow Step.
Yeah, so that's one of the skills, right?
Okay, so you're gonna get like a blink type movement, but not like invisible. So,
yeah, I remember hearing
all right,
about
I can
this.
get down with that, because if you take Rogue's invisibility away, like
yeah, exactly.
I mean, obviously they're very dangerous as mosquito. What kind of new like techs can they have? So they can like jump off of ceilings and do all sorts of like environmental creative plays that aren't just like, oh, I walked into a room where there's a rogue and I'm dead. You're gonna have to be extra paranoid now, even without invisibility. So, all right, that's exciting. We'll have.
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with Shadow Step as an ability in other games, but yeah, think of it like a blink. So basically, if it works the way that I imagine it would, and like the way that Ironmace would develop it, to me, Rogue would use a skill, and it would allow them to teleport to a specific location. Actually, Mistfall Hunter has this exact mechanic. Like, it's Mistfall Hunter, it's already in the game. So I don't know if Ironmace got this idea from Mistfall Hunter, but any of you that have played Mistfall already know what Shadow Step looks like. It's like basically the same idea if they do it the same way.
To wait to look. We're going to keep some obviously surprises, I'm sure. Now, Ranger, this is another balance thing. I guess since we're already on the topic, and maybe I'm jumping around a little too much, but there's a lot of things exciting. Like range damage versus melee damage, like the balance of that within Dark and Darker. Where do you see that? And I would say that would be. Let's start with that before we get into a Ranger skill or perk teaser for us. So, like, where do you find the balance of melee versus range currently? And how do you want it to play out?
레인지랑 메일레 있잖아요. 이거가 이제 지금은 사람들이 이거 갖고 많이 싸.
Guys, I'm sorry. Give me like 1 minute. I'll be right back. So we haven't seen. So here's the thing: Rogue is getting a rebalance right now, or next season, but Wizard hasn't gotten a rebalance yet. I am hoping and praying that when Wizard's time comes, we finally see some cool things happen. Because Wizard has been... It feels like everything we get from Wizard we haven't gotten a new thing in so long. The last thing was Magic Lock, which was 2 years ago. The Wizard definitely feels a little bit forgotten about in terms of not really keeping up with other new classes. So it is going to feel like kind of bad looking at like what Rogue and Ranger are getting while Wizard's just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs. I definitely hope that Wizard is looked at soon, for sure. Be right back. Well, let's let's not be too quick to jump on Mistfall's bandwagon yet. Mistfall delayed their game because they're completely revamping the combat. So until Mistfall comes back out in a playtest that's open, I would hold your expectations. Just saying.
하고 있잖아요. 아, 레인지가 너무 세다. 그러니까 여기서 이제 바오님이 생각하는 밸런스 쪽에서 이거가 어떻게 맞췄으면 원했는지.
네.
편하게.
아니, 편하게.
There is my director anyway.
오케이.
일단은
편하게.
로그가 이번에 많이 변한 것처럼 레인저도 또 많은 스킬과 폭이 생길 것이기 때문에.
근데 레인저만 아니고요. 그러니까 지금 말하는 거는
위저드, 랭스 어택.
레인지 메타랑 밀리 메타 어떤 생각이 있는지.
어떤 생각이 있는지.
이번 시즌의 목표는 무브먼트 메타를 밸런스 영역에 갖다 놓는 것이었어요.
Okay, so first he wanted to point out before we get into the range. So his personal goal for this season was to remove the impact, like how much movement, like previous, like the move meta, right? And it's like, reduce the reliance on just buffing up move speed, right? And so I think, he's made a lot of headway into that, right? And so
I will say movement speed is not quite as crazy as it used to be. as much as I hate that agility kind of feels bad to build, and I think an easy way to fix that would be just to maybe give it a little bit more action speed, just to kind of compensate for the nerf that it got with movement speed. But outside of that, I do feel like most of combat is a little bit more balanced feeling, since gear is not like quite as like building around movement speed. Like the +5 movement speed on boots is gone, just as like an example, because that used to be a required stat on every piece of gear. Now the meta for movement speed is definitely very much still a thing. You know, every solo player knows how it feels when somebody is slightly faster than you and they can just always keep ahead of you and you kind of can't stop them. That's also amplified by the door meta, because doors shut so fast that it could be like kind of hard to, you know, deal with it. But generally speaking, I think this season has done relatively well at fixing that speed at least a little bit. What happens more is the skills that give you movement speed: sprint, rage, adrenaline rush, ambush from rogue, the invis ambush, stuff like that that gives you movement speed ends up being even stronger. And I think movement speed skills in general have become very, very meta as a result. You could really go back and forth on which one you prefer, but I do kind of like that gear does not feel as much like it's based around building for only movement speed, even though it's still important.
Now he wants to go into more of the theory about, okay, we're asking about the range and melee.
Yeah, that is true. Don't get me wrong. A good wizard is very strong, but solo wizard is a dice roll. You know, all it takes is as a solo wizard, you walk into one invis rogue and your whole kit is gone. You know, that's more of a solo problem. In duos and trios, wizard is still very strong. I think the more pressing issue that most people have a problem with is that wizard hasn't gotten a meaningful update in a long time. So wizard's just kind of boring. We haven't gotten any new spells or anything like that in so long that wizard's kind of just been sitting there like waiting for something to happen, you know, and that definitely feels pretty bad, I would say.
그 다음에 이후로 지금까지 하고 있었던 거는 의도치 않게 너무 강한 데미지가 나오는 원거리
Okay. So before that,
조정하는 것이었어요.
그러니까
그 밸런스가 맞지 않은 그 이제 메커니즘이나 공격들을 좀 조정을 계속 해오고 있었다.
윈저스 크로스보 같은 거를 조금 줄이고 있었다.
So the new challenge right now, like so not just him. So they have the balance team that Hunter was able to meet a couple of the guys there. It's like their new challenge that they're looking at is like where you have just all of a sudden a big burst of damage, like burst damage, especially from like, you know,
Bardich.
Yeah, or 그러니까 그거 이제 잘못 들었어요. 그 range에서 들어오는 거요? 아니면 뭐 그 melee에서
range.
So first they're looking at the range, so like burst damage that comes in from range, like the windlass, you know, that you get this one shot,
magical damage,
and then even from magical damage.
Yeah, so I don't know how many of you guys are aware or have seen clips. Range damage can be really disgusting even now. A geared ranger with windlass legitimately can one-shot people. You don't see it a whole lot in solos, and I think it's because it's kind of gimmicky, because you either one-shot somebody or you probably just die, because windlass takes a while to reload. So if somebody is getting on top of you and you like miss your windlass shot or whatever, it's kind of annoying. But in teams, I've seen rangers just run windlass and straight up they will actually just one-shot people. And that is definitely not gameplay that I would picture what Dark and Darker should be. This is actually where the confusion came in, and I'm not sure what's like. We're gotta keep watching. I was told that melee, like as he said, the Bardiche, apparently they want to reduce the burst of two-handeds as well. But I don't know if that's confirmed or not. I just know they want to look at range damage, like windlass, for the time being.
So they're gonna look at that first. So I think he's saying is like, oh, maybe range overall is a little overtuned. 그거 맞아요? 그러니까 이걸 이제 조금 줄여야
Before 지금 줄이고 있었다.
Yeah, so he's in the process of reducing that. Yeah.
Okay, so you're feeling and this season you're expecting range damage to be a little bit less. Is that correct, Terry?
Okay, 그러니까
하지만 생각하고 있는 건 무조건 레인지 데미지를 줄이려는 게
okay,
목적이
so
아니라
he's saying it's not the overall goal to reduce overall range damage. Is
리스크 앤 리워드가 거기 고려되길 바래요.
so okay. So I don't okay. What he's saying is he wants it to match the risk reward value, right? So if there's a high risk, your reward should be that kind of burst damage. But right now it's like that thing's off skew. That's the vibe I'm getting.
So like for instance, curse lock, like back in the day with the TM lock can like miss 20 curses and still be living because they're cursing. Like you need to like if you're missing your curses like a punishment or missing your shots a bit
How do you nerf the windlass from one-shotting people if you don't nerf the damage? The only thing that I can possibly think of that they can do what they're trying to say, which is make it high risk, high risk, high reward, would be if the windlass has the same damage it does right now and can one-shot people. But if you miss, maybe the reload speed is like infinitely longer. And like if you really have to make sure that shot lands. I don't like really know though. Because like the windlass doesn't have a charge. I mean, I guess you could add a charge to it. But I don't really see how you can nerf the windlass without touching damage and making it like, higher risk. The only thing I can think of is making it kind of like the hand cannon, where it has longer animations attached to it. So like technically, yeah, you can use a windlass, and if in a perfect situation you can get that one shot, but maybe in the current state of the game, windlass rangers may be a little bit too easy to use. And honestly, the reload's not even that slow with Crossbow Mastery. So maybe it's something like that. You don't see a reason for using the windlass? Well, I mean, the reason for using it is because it can one-shot somebody. Any weapon in the game that has the chance to one-shot a player that is at range is always going to be, like, at least somewhat strong. It ultimately, I think, comes down to the lack of counterplay. Because ultimately, if a ranger is shooting at you with a windlass, it's kind of up to them to miss. You can manipulate your body all you want or try to block. But if they end up getting that headshot, or maybe you don't see them, if that windlass can one-shot you, I think it kind of takes away from the game a little bit. So maybe, again, I don't know what they're going to do to the windlass to make it fix, but that's what they're talking about.
A window for Melee to have a win.
Yeah, and then if it's things that are too easy, you shouldn't give the outsized reward, right?
Okay.
So I think that's it's kind of a abstract answer, but
Easy said, hard to accomplish. So we'll leave that in your hands. You've been making good direction. So I guess there you have it. A little bit of. There's going to be risk reward, I'm guessing, and we'll have to wait and see. But let's tap into maybe some of the exciting things for Ranger. Like, can you give us a teaser of a perk or a skill or what we might be expecting from Ranger?
티저.
레인저에서 그냥 뭐 새로운 스킬 퍼크 뭐 멋있는 거 하나.
Explosive shot.
So they have an explosive shot. You saw the icon where our UI artists like.
I saw some icons. I'm not sure what I'm able to say, but they're doing some. There's some really sweet work. Some of the art is unreal. Wait, what'd you say?
SEO saying there's an overdraw. So with the bows, more.
What is overdraw exactly? Is that like you pull back further?
Yeah,
exactly.
Increase some power.
I may be switching to Ranger for the first season. A little overdraw, okay. And then wait, what was explosive shot? So we're gonna finally get some elemental arrows. So will magic damage be something that some Rangers are wanting to build?
그렇게 할 수 있어요.
We see it head nudge.
이제 올려야 되는 거예요. 그렇게 하면.
Explosive 샷은 아마 될 거예요.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you fellas. Okay, so overdraw seems like an interesting mechanic from Ranger. I don't know how good it'll be in practice, but I will say I have heard suggestions from you guys, the community, of I wish Ranger wasn't so much just kind of draw the arrow, shoot as soon as possible, and just kind of do that over and over again. So I think the idea of maybe Ranger getting the benefit from overdraw sounds good. I don't know. Like it's gonna be really dependent on how long it takes. Like in solos, imagine if overdraw takes 3 seconds to activate. That could be kind of hard to really get in a like crazy close 1v1 fight. Whereas maybe in trio, you know, maybe you're behind your team and you're able to get those draws better. So it might be dependent on like the mode you're playing. The explosive is interesting because if the explosive is strong, one of Ranger's biggest or hardest matchups, I mean, you guys would agree, right, is probably fighters, at least in solos. I know that like crossbow and stuff has decent armor pen, but generally speaking, I think fighter has the advantage over Ranger. At least I think it does. Unless anyone disagrees with that. Maybe a good Ranger doesn't care. At least when I played Ranger, it felt like I would rather have been the fighter in most of those situations. Even though, like, you can definitely kill fighter as Ranger. And I did it too. Like, I killed fighter as Ranger. But I do wonder, maybe the explosive shot will make it less of a counter. You know? Yeah, I think, yeah, it's one of the, I think it's almost a soft counter. I don't really know. Would you consider it a hard counter? I'm not sure, but regardless, I do think that fighter in some way, shape, or form definitely has very good matchups against Ranger. So if you're able to tech into explosive shot to help your fight against fighters, especially in solos, that could make it a lot easier to play a classic Ranger, because it means if you have explosive shot and you run into a fighter, it's not like, oh shit, well, let me, you know, kite away for 10 minutes while I sit here and try to get the advantage on this fighter that has way more PDR, way more health, way more gap. Like, they just have like a lot more utility at their disposal than Ranger does, again, at least in a 1v1 environment. If the explosive shot ends up being good and it's like magic damage, and then that'll be good against the like players running full plate, that could be decent tech, I would say. I would use it. You know, if I could use a skill that would give my arrow some kind of explosion and it does decent damage, I could see that being pretty helpful.
He's saying, according to the way we know that our engine is built, is yeah, if you want to be an awesome specialist in explosive shot, you're gonna see Rangers with magic damage.
All right. So there's going to be an explosive shot build, so more customization, not only crossbows and bows for the Ranger. That's exciting. Is that where we want to leave it on the Ranger before we get any further?
One of my favorite builds for Ranger is crossbow, secondary, arming sword crossbow. But one of the biggest issues I had with that build was like trying to fight fighters with it was really obnoxious. So I kind of look forward to, if that explosive shot exists, trying out that build again. But maybe I get to use some different like perks and skills in there that make it better. Because it does feel like the crossbow build has kind of a lack of good perks or skills. And, you know, it'd be kind of cool to have some different options.
Further? Is that enough? Is there anything else? Any
말하고
more?
싶은 거 있어요?
그거 다 개발이 제가 원한 거 다 완료됐나요? 하나 안
I mean,
되겠죠?
we have overdraw and explosive shot. We have shadow step and wall climbing. I think that's good.
Okay,
Seems good.
Because what they were double checking is like, oh, okay, there's some crazy ones, but he's like, how's the development on it? And
He's
like,
checking in on it.
okay. So
then I should be quiet.
Okay, so let me jump into a couple of quality of life questions. And I think Foxman, I was in your chat. I think I saw you here earlier. Inboss gave me some good ones as well. But I think this is something, and maybe this is a little bit personal, so thanks for coming along with me, but quests. Are we going to be like locking us down on quests so we can't get them done? Is it going to still be like a...
Man, I could go on a giant tangent on how much I hate quests in this game. Look, I'm not like trying to be like complaining a lot here, but let me tell you, the old days when quests did not exist and you could craft everything off rip was so much more fun than the current state of the game. It feels like the quests are extremely grindy. You have to, like, and also the seasons reset every 3 months. So the quests have to be redone so frequently. And then they quest lock every single week to the point where, like, during the self-found period, you don't even get to experiment with, like, the good crafted gear during self-found. So the good craftables don't even come till Marketplace is out anyway. And by the time Marketplace is out, the craftables don't matter as much because you can just buy them off the market from people that do it. Or just buy other gear, because craftable gear, generally speaking, is too expensive to be worth using. Because you can just grab better rolled items that are not crafted and it's just better stats. So what I would like to see is maybe we don't delay quests by so long. You know, maybe you don't release unique jewelry crafting 2 or 3 weeks before the wipe is over. Or, you know, maybe we don't release so many quests that are so grindy. Because some of the quests really do get quite obnoxious to complete, you know? So just some thoughts there. I kind of wish we went the other direction on questing, and maybe it was a little bit easier to complete them, and it just doesn't feel like as much of a chore every single season. It's a big reason why I just don't want to do quests, because I'm just kind of tired of doing them, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, it's the grind for sure. Yeah, quests are just such a grind intensive mechanic, and I don't mind grinding, but it does get kind of tiresome, I would say. Yeah, they could do a damage fall for windlass. Maybe forcing you to be closer to the enemy player to get that one shot off. Could be an option. You hope they add the ability to search for a certain value of a static in the marketplace? What do you mean by that? I feel like the marketplace searching is already pretty decent. I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for. That is true. That's it. You know, that's another thing as well. Questing is really expensive. So since Ironmace decided that they want to allow quest items to be buyable, the good quests are locked under really expensive monetary grinds. For example, those mysterious potions or whatever they were called, the legendary ones. I don't know what they cost now, but back when the quest released, they were like 30k a potion. So in order to get legendary gem or jewelry crafting, you have to put a lot of money into the quest. And it feels very, very grindy. So I can understand why a lot of players, myself included, just don't really want to deal with the questing system. So I really hope they look into it and make it more friendly, especially if wipe is only going to be 3 months. 3 months is just so short to do like these quests over and over again. It just gets tiring, you know?
Long journey to get to where we can craft. Are you doing anything to kind of change the quest at all that we can expect in particular?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's yes and no. Okay. So first of all, in terms of the weekly, you know, kind of we call it internally quest gating, right? So we still have quest gating. Again, the quest right now it's just we cobble it together. It works. We have our internal writer. She'll write the stuff, and she's having a lot of fun with it. But I know that in terms of mechanically, for the players, like, oh, I want to get this out right away, you know. So we're not gonna open up the gating this time again, because
we're close. Okay.
There's multiple thinkings that go into it. First of all, because we have the kind of shortened season, is that, hey, you know, we want to have the beginning of a season, middle of a season, and then end of the season feel a little bit different. With season 7 and season 6, we just opened it from the beginning. And to us,
what really hurts me about what he is saying, what Terry is saying here, is that it feels like SSF is not to its full potential because the crafting is locked. You know, I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this, but part of the fun of SSF is that, you know, you're self-reliant on yourself. So being able to craft your own gear is the fun part of SSF. So the fact that most of the quests are locked during SSF and the good stuff doesn't release until Marketplace comes, it kind of feels like it completely diminishes the entire point of SSF mode. And I don't even know why we have SSF. Why are we even shoehorning? Like, I'm not saying SSF is bad for 2 weeks. I'm not saying that. But why are we shoehorning 2 weeks of SSF into the game if Ironmace doesn't want to give us craftable gear to allow us to be self-sufficient for those 2 weeks? Like, the two systems just don't make sense together, you know? It just feels really weird, but on both flips. It feels like if we want to have SSF in the beginning, we should have a lot more quests early on so we can be self-sufficient for those 2 weeks. Or, you know, self-found would go longer, but I don't know. I don't know the answer. I'm just kind of rambling, but it feels bad having it in the way that it currently is. That's all I can really say.
Felt like, hey, once the first 3 weeks passed, it was like this and the rest of the season, it didn't have a clear identity, right? So I think, okay, we feel some of your pain points there. So first of all, we made a first pass on some of the more painful types of quests. We've done a little bit of adjustments on the affinity and what gets unlocked and stuff, right? Again, it's not going to be a perfect answer what you guys are asking for. It's like, oh, we want all this right from the beginning. Okay?
Got it.
Because, again, there is a part of the strategy is that, oh, okay, we want seasons to feel like seasons. Okay?
So I have one pain point of quality of life that I think you maybe already addressed, and I'm just going to make sure that this is going to be at the start of Season 9. One of the big problems when you first start a season is you're not able to use the weapon you want to use. Are we going to get to start our Squire with, like, gray every weapon?
Yes.
So that we can, like, because, like, I have friends that are like...
pissed me off so much. This last season, I wanted to play, like, Morningstar Fighter, or wanted to play like Quarterstaff Barb, and instead my entire Squire was nothing but like Battle Axe, Double Axe for Barbarian, and it just forced the most unfun gameplay out of me, to the point where I would look at the weaponsmith and wait for grays, and I would just buy like 50 of like one gray weapon. So at the very least, yeah, that was pretty obnoxious.
They like kind of leave the game because they can't get their felling axe. And it's like, does your vendor have it? Does your vendor have it? And he just wants to fight with the felling axe. So, is that going to be?
I think even this season, we had a change that directly addresses that. So
you made it. So that's going to stick.
Yeah,
we'll have all the weapons right out of the game. Okay, so that's huge. That's huge. So quests will be gatekeeped and gate kept, but. You're getting rid of some of the really, the ones that nobody finishes.
Yeah. So
that is good, at least, because the amount of work it took to get the Squire gear early on was insane. You know, don't get me wrong, Barbarian is a very strong class in solos. That's almost an understatement. Barbarian is like top 2, top 3 classes in solos right now, I would say. But a Barb that can only use Battle Axe is actually pretty bad. Like, Battle Axe is such a bad weapon that it kind of turns Barb into a bad class. So, you know, the players that are stuck on something like a Battle Axe just are at such a crazy disadvantage because the weapon is just not good. And you could also argue, well, they should probably be buffing the Battle Axe, and I wouldn't disagree. I would like to see the trash weapons rebalance, but for the time being, yeah, being locked behind like the weapons that are just not good is really just unfun.
So I think it's part of it is that we want to give more choice at the very beginning. So our game is there's a lot to digest and learn, right? But the problem is, even if you know all that, we don't actually give you the access, right? And so for us, it's like, okay, for the people that are the pros and stuff that know the game, is you guys. It's unfair of us to pretend that, hey, look at you got all this choice, but not really, right? So it's like, oh, okay, we got the choice, you could use it, and then you use your skills to improve those choices, right? So I think we're working towards that. So that the onboarding for new players is something that we're going to start looking at seriously, right? It's for not just new players, even for when you're starting the season, it's like, oh man, I got to do this all again just to get back up to status quo, right? It's like, oh, okay. So like when you're talking about the Squire, just get because it's a poor weapon. But hey, you go.
Can use the weapon that you're comfortable with,
and then you unlock the better ones, right?
I want to talk briefly about the, what he said, where it's kind of feels like you have to do like, it's almost like a checklist, the early on stuff of like, I got to do this, and this to get like ready for the early wipe. And I don't know if they're going to talk about it in this Q&A, but I wish they do. I hope they do, or I wish they would. The workshop really needs updated, man. I am going to be so disappointed if the next season releases and the workshop still costs hundreds of thousands of gold to upgrade to max level. I want to see the workshop usable as like a self-sustaining resource. I want to be able to like do my own stuff with the workshop. I really hope they update it, because right now it feels like the workshop is for like this very small, minor percentage of players, and most players, myself included, just don't even bother because it is so grindy and just time consuming, I like what they say about workshop, so they do talk about it. Maybe I forgot about it. Okay. All right. I'll keep watching then.
So we're moving more towards that. The other thing is like, this has to do slowly is the way that, it was a mishmash of all these kind of systems that we wanted to try out. Like now that we're changing strategies, it's like, okay, we're moving, just move forward. You mentioned, addition by subtraction. We're going to do a lot more of that. It's like before we didn't know exactly, we wanted to push different types of boundaries. Now it's like, oh, okay, forget all that. Now we're going to come back in. Mm-hmm. So, there's just things that are a big hassle, just like clicking. Like
clicking. So, okay, this is now, there's a lot of people talking.
Oh, the clicking. Oh my God, the clicking. How many freaking actions does it take to do shit in your stash? You gotta like, just to like buy meds, you gotta like go to the surgeon, click the green bandages, click fill, click accept, go to the single green bandages, make it 3, click fill, click accept, then you gotta go to the white bandages, select the number you want, click fill, click accept, then you have to go to the alchemist, buy a bunch of potions, now you have to organize your potions in the stash, then you have to like sift through, then you have to get your protection pots, then you gotta click through your magic pots, and there's so much clicking. And then don't even get me started on gold. Like the moving of gold between your stash. Has anyone here ever wanted to get rid of individual gold coin bags and you want to move it into like a spectral bag or a gold coin chest? Do you know that you have to individually move every single bag one by one? You have to drag click the gold from the gold coin bag because there's no auto transfer. It's like it's so unintuitive, it's almost hilarious. Probably gives me carpal tunnel just thinking about it.
Talking about this, like so the inventory sorting or clicking or merchant.
Yeah. So sorting, okay, we'll give you a deep dive into the sorting. Sorting is something that we've been working on, right? But the thing is, I've been asking for auto sort for probably 3 years. We started to actually look into it because we got a directive. Put sorting in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even better. After you move all of the pouches individually into the gold coin chest and you go to sell them, the vendor does not recognize gold coin pouches as an item, so you can't transfer them. So if you have a whole stash tab of gold coin bags, you have to individually click them to sell them to get them out of the stash. You cannot like full clear them with the transfer button. It doesn't work. You cannot transfer pouches. So the amount of work it takes to get rid of individual pouches is insane. We're talking thousands of clicks to click to do. It's crazy.
Put sorting in, and so originally there was a technical issue, right? Mm-hmm. And so we got past that, and now we're looking into wait, but when you guys are talking about we want sorting, is like what actually do you want?
Because it's
what actually is the functionality of sorting that matters in Dark and Darker that doesn't ruin or that doesn't sidestep what the restrictions we have in Darker and Darker. And then that gets us going back is, are these restrictions actually needed or not, right? So some of the things is like okay, I think, you know, the infamous SDF is on Yami stream is like, oh, sorting, what? It's not. So the sorting, you know, we looked at it, compared it, it's like, there's a big difference in Tarkov is because you have that one stash as an infinite stash, right? And you have a scroll. And then when we try to implement it with our
tiny stash.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
I would like to see, like other games already have auto sorts. Like the other games that are in playtesting, auto sort's already in the game. Like Dark and Darker is actually behind. It's just that the other games aren't released yet. So I would love to see auto sorting made. What I would like to see is maybe like in your stash tab, it organizes from top to bottom, like meds, maybe then, or maybe like gold coin bags first, and then meds, and then maybe weapons, then armor. You know, they just do general categories. It doesn't have to be like specific, but just enough to make it so when you have a stash that is completely in disarray, it'll help like reorganize the stuff, you know? I feel like they're overcomplicating it. They could do something simple like that, where it literally just goes top to bottom per stash and just organizes it from some kind of like very simple coding. Where again, it's like gold, healing, armor, weapons, whatever the hell, like miscellaneous, whatever. You know, just something simple like that would be huge quality of life. Huge. You know?
Man, so then we had to make all these kind of weird, you know,
it does seem strange with the equipment from Dark and Darker, like how to sort. Like part of the game is a little bit of Tetris as well. Like,
so we had to go back to, oh, okay, do we want to really lose that or not? So I'm sure there's people and it's like, please get rid of that, right?
It's like, what are you even sorting, right? Like,
yeah, and so, okay, what do people actually want? If we're going to keep this in this context, let's try to figure that out, right? So going back to, on the big scale, is these, for us now, we're actually grouping it into like, oh, these are QOL features, right? QOL features, those we just got to do no matter what. And it doesn't.
You added some of them in the middle of this season, which are good.
So like what you saw this season is like when we finish it, we'll just put it out.
That's huge. That's huge.
So before the strategy was like, oh, okay, we want to have a bunch of features and hold it, and then on white we'll put it bang out like that, right? So that's what we kind of try to do with in season 7. So at the near the end of season 7, there was like we're like crickets for a while, right?
Yes.
Because we're like, oh, okay, we gotta, oh, these are so precious, we gotta collect it, and then we have something to give on season 8, right? And it's like, oh, if we do that again, it's like, no, you know, QOL.
Let's just get it out there.
If I have a QOL feature right now that's done and ready to go, and QA is like, and it's in the back of my pocket, and we have a patch tomorrow, it's stupid of me for me like, oh wait, I'm gonna hold on to this for the next month, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna.
So that's good to
a
know.
Strategic change.
Man, my mind is going a lot of ways because there's a lot of exciting questions, and we're still good on. We still have a little bit of time. One of the things that was mentioned when I think of sorting, since we're on this topic, meds, like colored meds. Is there an idea to get like where you can recognize?
Yeah. So if their biggest issue is that they're afraid, is like because they have multiple stash tabs that they don't know how to make it so they all organize together. At the very least, if it just organizes the stash tab that's open, it's better than nothing, you know? Oh, another thing, this is actually what a viewer recommended last week. They said that similar to gold coin bags, we should have gem bags. So, you know, I don't know about you fellas, but I have stash tabs that are full of random ash jewelry, or not jewelry, gems, like rubies, sapphires, whatever, and they don't have different icons. A legendary emerald looks exactly the same icon-wise as a common emerald. So they end up getting completely mixed up in the stash, and it's like impossible to keep up. I think it would be kind of nice if we had gem bags. So maybe, you know, you could just have a few bags in your stash and then all of your gems would be held in those bags. I don't know exactly how it would work or look, but I do think having a gem bag, generally speaking, would be kind of nice because they do like really start to fill up your stash after a while. So, you know, I didn't cut my hair. I just shaved, but thank you.
A blue bandage from a green bandage, or do we just have to like separate our inventory really well? Is that in the works at all?
It's not in the works. Okay, so but then you bringing it up is like, oh, that gives us hints to, oh, what exactly do people want with the sorting? So that's maybe now the actual better way of going about this is like we just put out a questionnaire. It's like, hey, what do you guys want with sorting? And then we see.
You know, questionnaires are not a bad way to go. Other games, a good example being RuneScape, will send out questionnaires or will send out a like, hey, here's what we're going to do for the next update. And you'll get to vote on those changes. And my understanding, because I've never played RuneScape, is they send the questionnaires out to people with like X amount of hours. And then if a change does not get voted, like if too many people say no, the change does not go through. Like, they will not just veto the like what the player base wants and will just release it anyway, you know? And that's something that honestly, this guy right here, STF, could have learned from RuneScape. Because think about how many updates we had that most of the community was scratching their head going, why the hell are we doing this? And that honestly probably could have gotten resolved by something like, you know, doing a questionnaire in game. So maybe like you open up the game and there's a tab where you can open up the questionnaire and then you fill it out and maybe it's sent to like, I don't know what the hours would be, but you just send out that survey to maybe people that have at least like 100 hours or whatever in the game. But I don't know. It would be, it's a thought. I don't think it would be any worse than what we've done in the past.
What we could do.
I think
right?
they're talking about like a search function. So let's say you're like looking through your gear and you're like Dex.
A search function is super easy for us. So that's the other thing that we looked at. We're like, wait, if they only want search, okay, we could do that.
If search is so easy, why don't we have it? Yeah, I don't know.
But then we don't have confidence. It's like, oh, if we do this, is this actually what you guys want? And the way, again, it goes back to the execution implementation. It's like, if you want search and then it just highlights and it brings up one thing outside of the inventory, we could do that super easy. But then it's like, oh, is that something we want, or do we want it more integrated with the
I
stash?
would love a search system.
That's a good question,
I'm down.
and I guess like I've watched a lot of streams, and a lot of you streamers are very messy. All right, so my stuff is a lot more organized, but like they just like click because they're.
Well, luckily you guys know that my stash is always very organized. I don't fall into the streamer category. I always have the cleanest of stashes, so we're good there.
They're putting on a show, right? They're click, 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 and then it's like, where did that ring go that had XYZ? So like that search function, highlight the rings that have whatever, would probably save you messy inventory players out there. So that's I'm just gonna throw that out there. I think that's enough coverage of that topic. Did y'all see something that excited you here?
No. So people are saying, yes, that's what we want.
So it seems like W's in the chat if you want search feature. It seems like some W's. All right, merge East and West servers.
Okay, can we talk about that?
Yeah, I think you're the creators. We talk because I know you just did it here in Korea, right? You just merged.
So we did look into this. Okay, so we did look into because we do think that when you have more people in one region, it's more dynamic, it's more fun, right? Mm-hmm. East and West is actually pretty good population-wise, right? Okay. But the thing is like, we get greedy. We're like, dude, we just.
From my experience, US East is the most populated server. I will swap servers to try to like prevent sniping every once in a while. And US West, I will say, is definitely, from my experience, is definitely less populated. And then the other servers outside of US East and West that I'll play on are even worse than that. So it definitely feels like most of their players right now are actually in the US, which is kind of surprising because I would think that there would be more players in, I don't know, maybe Korea. But yeah, I definitely feel like East and West have a lot, like, or East in particular has a lot of players.
As combined is, and it's gonna be even more fun for everyone, right? But one of the things that we got through our back channels is that if we do this, the thing is, so realistically, we're looking at it. So there's, we use Amazon. They have specific data centers that we could use. Is that we will be looking at like Ohio, right, around there. Is that for the West server people, it would add probably around like 20 or 10 to 30 milliseconds, right?
Okay.
And then for the East people, it may be like another 10. Right?
Okay, so maybe we don't merge. Maybe we don't. Let's move on from that topic.
So, on the topic of merging player base, from my experience, it seems like whenever companies start to consider and officially do merges for, just servers in general, it does kind of feel like it's almost signifying that they don't have enough player base to support, and that kind of almost feels like the start of the end of the game. It seems like every extraction game that I've played, every time I start to see server merges, it feels like that is almost them admitting that like the player base is too small and they don't plan to grow anymore, because if they're removing servers, then the players that it's kind of hard to get new players because you don't have their servers, So I am a little bit concerned whenever I start to hear talk about server merging in general. I don't think East and West are dead enough that you should be merging them yet.
That's like,
okay.
we'll learn that whenever they make that decision, we'll cross that bridge. But there's other better stuff here to talk about. Let me jump in. What do I have? So,
Dungeonborn and Legacy Steel and Sorcery both server merged before the games died. Just like as two examples.
Training dummy guilds, guild hall, a way to like practice our spec. Maybe even this was a thought that I had on my own, because if I want to go do a test dummy, check my damage or work on something, or even like being where I could like get to my stash in like a PvE mode. That I can't maybe put stuff away unless I take something out, so that you can like try different gear to learn what damage is doing from your stats. Like, is there anything in the works that we can like test builds or like get you a quicker exit from the PvE mode, so I don't have to run to the dummy with this gear, wait for the timer, get out?
That's super annoying. Other games already have this kind of stuff. Like Mistfall Hunter already has a training mode. So I Dungeonborn had a training mode. I don't know why it's been so long. But to have like your own personal training area where I can test out my builds in a closed environment would just be so much better than having to go to PvE mode, rush a dummy, and then leave the match. It's like a lot of extra work for what feels like no real good reason. So, that's something I would like to see.
Anything that's
okay, I'll be honest.
our training ground.
Dude, Terry's face was looking kind of cringy. Look at it. Look at his face. Why is Terry so pissed? He's like talking about like, yeah, I really like a training ground, and Terry's like just furious.
Under the dummy with this gear, wait for the timer, get out. Is that anything that's
oh my God.
Okay, I'll be
He's
honest.
so mad.
our training ground?
No.
Okay.
It's not in the plans. The fact that you said it is okay. Well, think about it. So because there's something different, but that we're working on right now. This is not for this season. It's season 10's. Is that we're looking at again.
And season 10's not that far away. This is less than half a year.
Yeah,
it's like 6 months or something.
So so we're planning 3 month.
Season 9.
Yeah, so we're in season 8 now. We're going into season 9 in 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, because it'll be April 27th the servers will close, and they'll open the 28th. So it's less than 2 weeks for season 9, and then 3 months is season 10. And then season 11 is actually 6 months away. Yeah, they're going to happen pretty quick.
3 months, season 10, 3 months.
So 3 months, 3.5 months away, right?
Okay,
So,
somewhere in there.
yeah. So I'll be honest. We've been looking at the competition, right? So and
Okay. Can I? I mentioned earlier. Remember when I said that Mistfall Hunter already has Shadow Step on Rogue? Like they already have it. Anyone who's seen me play Mistfall Hunter and play Rogue, you use the ability and you like Shadow Step to a location. It literally is a shadow ability. I am wondering if Ironmace has been closely looking at all of the upcoming extraction games, such as Mistfall Hunter, and they're like looking at what's working or what people enjoy from those games, and they're trying to incorporate them into their game. I mean, he just said he looks at competition, so I would not be surprised if they're looking at those games and like making decisions based on that. Now, that's something every company does. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I definitely feel like they're getting some some ideas from the other games for sure.
And so, like having those kind of like personal housing, and where you could start kind of have something to
Gathering
invest in,
stuff
gathering
and-
stuff and building it. So we are working on that right now, right? But there are technical issues. So that's the thing. It's like, oh, okay, it would be so awesome if you have your little room in the tavern or your little place, and you could have the training dummies and stuff, right? There's a little bit of a technical hurdle there.
Okay.
But, okay.
Is it overcomeable, or is it a big distance? Is it impossible? Is it impossible, or is it?
So this has to do with, remember the gathering hall? We're talking about it's on hold right now, right? And so it is on hold because of
The technical issue.
the server cost, right?
Okay.
It's like that's why the personal housing is a way that we could do 80% of what we wanted to do in the gathering hall without significant server costs. The problem is that what you're asking for is that 20%, right? So we gotta look into that. Yeah.
Even if you let's say you had guild housing, right? Like maybe less servers. So like as a guild, we can build this house together, and we can have our training dummy. And you.
Am I wrong? Didn't Ironmace talk about guild housing, guild factions, whatever? I feel like this was a conversation over 2 years ago. I'm having deja vu because I remember talking to you guys again 2 years ago, saying, wow, I can't wait until guilds come out so I can make my own guild, and then you guys can join me, and we can, like, I don't know how it would work, but then we could play together from that guild. And then it just never happened. We got the religion, which is not really anything that's cooperative. It's just kind of like, choose whatever religion you want for stats, basically. I feel like this has been talked about to death. Like a long freaking time, I feel like.
Have your chests or whatever.
That was exactly gathering
That's
hall.
my dream.
Oh,
And then-
that's the one that's
and
not
then
possible.
whoa, we're getting close. So
Or even
I
like
don't wanna-
dueling within like the guild hall, like dueling with your homies would be sweet. But
So
Yes.
that's
sorry,
the,
these are just, I'm
that's
throwing
the-
too much out there.
That's one of my
Let me
dreams.
reel it back. That's your dream. Okay, so SDF's dream, you're working
We-
on it.
And we made progress there, but we need to make more. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's in the
that's a
works.
dollars and cents
that's
kind
good.
of a challenge.
And that running a business is very, very tough, and we totally understand that. It would be exciting. So I guess this is a bigger one. I think the chat's going to really like this one, and I have so many quality of life things that I can go over, and it gets like nitty gritty. But let's go to the big boy, a big thing, the monk. How are we looking? Is monk in the works? Is it close? Is it still a brain? Or is there a
Waiting
different
for that.
class?
So
Or
there's-
is it just monk?
okay.
Monk.
Monk. 언제 나온?
I really wanted to introduce Monk at season 10, but
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
So he's not even season 10. So season 9, no monk.
So okay, yeah. So
9,
now
10,
it's.
11. maybe?
So I think people will start getting some of the dynamics.
We'll see Monk next year, fellas. We'll see Monk next year for sure.
Now here for so because Paul and I and one other Jino, the three of us we've taken over the day-to-day running of Dark and Darker, and then SDF is just like now he's like the commander overview. So he's telling us right now, hey, I want the monk in season 10. And I'm telling him, there's no way because I know our resources.
All right.
And so these are things that are kind of, I think that the players have kind of sensed the change too, is like things are probably going to come out a little bit slower, but it's going to just
But
be
the quality of life and the
steady
balance
drip.
of the game has been, and there's going to be exciting things to explore, a new boss to learn.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, I think that's enough information.
I wonder if that is the conversation that I saw on that Excel sheet. So there was a big topic about what Terry just said. He said he said that like based on our resources, here, let me go back a little bit. Make sure I'm like hearing it correctly.
I'm telling him, there's no way because I know our resources.
All right.
And
So he said, we know our resources, talking about the resources they have to make Dark and Darker.
so these are things that are kind of, I think that the players have kind of sensed the change too, is like things are probably going to come out a little bit slower, but it's
So within like 10 seconds, he says that things are going to come out slower, and then also talks about the resources that he has to work with. And this is, I think, what sparked the big conversation of, do we think SDF is pulling resources away from Dark and Darker development to work on his new game? And none of us, like, I don't have the answer. No one has the answer to this, but it was brought up as a discussion point. Do we think this is going to happen, or is it currently happening? Because under the sheet that Sobat had made, I remember reading something about the resources being reduced, and I don't know. I have to wonder, is it like because the player count is kind of low, so are they making less money, so the resources are lower? Or is it, are we just kind of being taken because of this new game that he's working on? I don't really know. This is kind of all, I don't want to say it's a conspiracy, but it is kind of an important thing to know if that is happening.
it's going to just
But
be
the
in a
quality of life and the
steady
balance
drip.
of the game has been, and there's going to be exciting things to explore, a new boss to learn.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of that, I think that's enough information on the monk. Is we're a couple seasons away, and we'll probably have another one of these. So he's not next season. Do we care? Let's take advantage of this time.
Thanks. Thank
yeah.
you.
There was
Fire Dungeon Edition.
boss griefing was one that a lot of people were talking about. Now, for me, I think this is a unique perspective to perspective. Everyone has a different idea, but there's people asking, is there any plans for like closing the doors for boss and then everyone comes in
Okay.
after the fight? But I find that part of the dynamic that's crazy is I have to fight the boss, fight the people, create.
Yeah, so bossing / trying to PvP during boss just doesn't really work, I feel like, because it gets to the point where it's not worth the risk to boss. Like, for example, as a solo player, if you try to solo Ghost King, the fight really isn't that hard. But if a naked rogue comes in during the suck phase, they can grief and kill you, and there's not much you can really do about it. So stuff like that feels very unfair. And I do have to wonder, should there be a boss mechanic similar to like Dark Souls, where once the boss starts, maybe you get, say, 3 minutes, and then if you don't kill it in 3 minutes, the boss door opens, just to stop like griefing from people just taking forever. But maybe letting players actually fight the boss in a fair setting. Because it does feel pretty bad to risk your gear for boss loot that, quite frankly, is not even worth what you're risking. Cyclops loot is so bad that oftentimes my gear set will be significantly more valuable than anything Cyclops can possibly drop. So, I do wonder if there should be something like that. It's been talked about a lot recently, I've heard.
My outs before I go in, but the general.
So, what people are asking for, we actually we tried to get it for the start of season 8, and then there was too many deep bugs with it, and we're like, oh man, this is just adding chaos. So we removed it, and then we went with how season 8 launched right now, right? So it wasn't as bad as we thought with how it went out. So what we were trying to do with bringing back, like, you know, it's not a full removal of the risk. Okay, I'll give you a bit more detail. It was like we were going to return the summoning mechanism.
Okay,
right?
that's coming back. So the
No,
summoning...
so that was the original
okay,
plan
okay.
for season 8, was that we wanted to bring back the summoning, and then when you summon it, you had that room, but or basically it was you needed a key to get to the boss room. Right?
Okay.
But other people could get the key too,
Oh.
and so it doesn't fully close you off. But then it's like when you open the door to get to the boss room, you had a limited time before it closed again.
I think... So, if you have to find a key, or if there's keys to open up the boss room, we desperately need more time in dungeon. The last time we had a Q&A, there was discussion about them increasing the length of goblin caves, just as like an example. And do you know how long they increased the timer by? Like, to give you enough time to do double bossing and hit the pile? They increased it by 1 minute. 1 singular minute. Realistically, that 1 minute is not going to be doing very much. I would really like to see a significant amount of time added to the dungeon to make it feel like a real dungeon experience, rather than feeling like you're just kind of rushed through the game, you know? It's fine if you have early exits, like, if the match is 30 minutes, you know, I'm not saying to not let people leave until the 10-minute mark. You know, maybe you do it kind of like Arc Raiders, where, you know, you like at the 30-minute mark, you're starting. I'm not saying to have people spawning 15 minutes late, but I'm saying you could have exits that are spawning within like 5-10 minutes or something, you know? So I'm not like trying to keep people in dungeon for that long, but I do like kind of wish... I don't know. I do kind of wish that the length was longer, because it feels like it's really hard to have time to do like the bossing and the piles and stuff. It feels very restricted, especially when you have to start PvPing and stuff, you know?
You know how we do this season, we added that the blue portals and the red portals closing again. It was supposed to be that similar mechanic, and that's why that came out later too, is because we had those bugs, right? So those are things that we thought about explore. It's on the back burner right now because, hey, I have very limited resources right now, and so, you know, we're trying to do the step-by-step first, and then work on some of these kind of bigger things that are more unpredictable for wipes, right?
Yeah.
Again, this time we're not going to have that ready for EAS 9.
Okay.
So,
but it's something being thought of.
yeah. So I know people that want their self-contained boss rooms, you got to wait a little bit longer. And I could clearly see the other side too. It's like, oh, you want to have that kind of chaos too.
Yeah,
right?
we always like, sometimes we don't want to be the first to boss. We go try to hunt everyone down, clear it before we do boss, or always creating outs so that you have outs and that whole dynamic. It's tough. Dark and Darker is tough. It's not meant to be easy, and that's part of the beauty of it. I wanted to jump into new items, new gear changes. Is there going to be, how big of a shift are we looking at in this season with like the equipment, the abundance? There was a lot of money in this particular season. What's that flow looking like?
So in terms of abundance, this was one of the big things that SDF talked about at the start of the season. It was like, hey, this season, he used the word, it was like, we want to do, supply inflation, right? Not just gold. And so I think we feel like this season, we made a lot of progress. I hope it feels a lot better for most people, where it's like that, you know, that feeling, the down feeling was like, oh, you spent 30 minutes.
I think gold is so inflated because they increase the amount that treasure sells for, like, significantly. I think the gold capacity is still too low. They doubled it, but I think they need to double it again. Like 100 gold for a little baggie is not enough when you can bring out like a single treasure that easily sells for like 500 to 1,000 gold. And like you can easily make a few like you can make 2K plus in one game in just sellable treasure. And then like you have to start buying gold coin bags, and that stuff just gets really expensive. I don't know. I feel like that stuff needs to be higher capacity even than it is right now. You know, I would like to see more gold be held. If they're going to hyperinflate stuff the way they have this season, it kind of feels like it needs to happen. Just because of how much you're selling stuff for.
It's you get this nice set and you go in and just by pure BS, you lose it in like 30 seconds and you're like, oh. But now we feel like, oh, okay, with that a little bit more stuff out there, it's like, oh, okay, some of that time is reduced. We're feeling it's better. So in terms of that, I think we're going to continue on that. I think we made a mistake with introducing the workshops mid-season, and so the workshops, we have to over-tune it, the balance, the costs and stuff.
Well, it might have been a mistake to release it mid-season, but if they released the workshop the way that it was day one, for day one, no one's completing it anyway, so the workshop ends up being dead content day one regardless. So I don't know if I completely agree with that exactly.
It also had the bad luck of that was when a big dupe was out there. So there, we were just like, we overreacted. We're like, oh my God, there's all this money. Okay, we're going to use the workshop. This was a terrible decision on my part. It's like, we're going to use the workshop to drain all that cash out of there.
Oh.
And that made it like, oh, the first impression of the workshop was like, oh, this is...
Okay, well... All right.
At least you're owning up. Like that's accountability, and that's really admirable.
So, the goal is when the workshop starts this season, especially with the SSF will be 2 weeks for the next season. Okay, we did the 3 weeks. There was really good and bad stuff that came out of it. There was some really good stuff that came out of it also. But the thing was like, oh, okay. And that gave us other ideas. Okay, so we're gonna look into.
Test
we know,
server?
yeah. So we're gonna look into ways for people that want a pure SSF. We will try to start exploring. Like SDF says, like, oh, maybe we just open a test server that's just pure SSF, right? For the season, that's just in parallel.
Okay.
Because
I don't imagine a test server that was SSF only would be super popular, but I also don't have any opposition to it because it's just an extra server. So, if people want to play there, like, who cares? But I have to, like, because right now you can only play the test server on Blacksmith Launcher. So you can't even play it through Steam. So the amount of people that have access to that test server is very, very low. So unless they release it as a free open server on Steam, I'm just not really sure how that's gonna see much play. But again, I'm not opposed to it or anything. Just being like the way that it currently is, I just don't exactly know how that's gonna work out.
Because there was
no, you didn't miss a Q&A today. Ironmace didn't release the Q&A until yesterday. This is the Q&A from 5 days ago. They just took their sweet time posting the VOD, and I never got to watch it. So.
Data that shows loud and clearly like, oh, there are people that are just SSF players, and
then they quit.
Yeah. But then the other thing is that so we have this weird dynamic. It's almost like half and half, right? So it's like you have to pick between your two kids.
Some people are like, I'll come back whenever the market's open, and some people are like, I'm only playing SSF. It's true.
If you look, you could even look on the Steam DB.
Is that true? Did Tarkov release a SSF test server that reduced their player base count? I'm not aware of this. I don't play Tarkov. That would be news to me if that's true.
Is we opened it at the third week.
No. We get 2 weeks of SSF. This season was 3 weeks. They said it was way too long, and they're gonna reduce it to 2 weeks. Yeah, it's not gonna be 3 total.
And the third week, we actually see a big jump in the player base, right? And we're like, oh, but then it's a different color of the type of players that came back. And I was like, oh, okay, so these people were waiting.
Yep.
And these people,
I have both. I have friends on both sides. They quit at SFF, and then I have new friends that come in when the market's out. They're like, I'll wait till I can buy something.
And we have
Yeah, I will say I know. I mean, it's a never ending argument, really. But I know that there are people out there, probably in this chat right now, that are SSF enjoyers and that would love if the game was just strictly SSF. But based on the data that we've seen from this season, like when Marketplace released and when SSF was kind of like dragging on a little bit, I think the majority, or at least again, I think the most of the player base prefers Marketplace at this point. So I don't think SSF can ever become like just kind of shoehorned into the game. I don't think that is ever gonna happen, especially when Ironmace has their own data that shows that the player base is decreasing and then increasing because market comes. You know, I think the vocal minority, that I'll use sparingly, because again, I think it is the minority of players, even though I know some of you do prefer SSF. I see like posts on Reddit saying, oh, Dark and Darker would be saved if SSF was, the only way to play and all this other stuff. And I think the reality is that not everybody wants the same thing. And even though some of you or some of those players want SSF, most of the player base does actually prefer being able to buy and sell on the market. I'm one of those players. I prefer Marketplace by far after like the first week. I don't mind having a week or two of SSF because it gives me time to play every class and whatever. But I think Marketplace is just more fun personally. So that's just kind of like where I'm at as far as that goes.
That shows exactly that.
That's
and so we're like, okay. So yeah, in terms of abundance, we're going to go with that. We have other mechanisms there that we hopefully will support that with like the workshops and stuff, and it'll be retuned so it's not as,
Okay, so we're going to retune.
Yeah.
Can we get logs where we can carry more than, we can stack some logs? Because the logs in the inventory,
Okay. Yeah.
I can't be bothered.
So yeah, that's my fault too, because that was all because we thought that the Gathering Hall was going to be coming in at Season 9, right? And so I was like, oh, okay. The log.
Oh my god, the logs. Yeah, the workshop requires so many damn logs. It takes so many games of farming back and forth to get it completed. It's really rather silly. They need to increase the stack size of logs. It's like very dumb.
We're supposed to be like that because you upgrade your Gathering Hall, and we wanted you to kind of slow down the pace, and you make, each beam and piece, of the Gathering Hall, and then you could build
The
it
decoration.
up. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we didn't want it like, oh, you could just go in and on like 2-3 runs, and you have it.
I want to give you an example of what it's like from the eyes of a veteran player, because I do have 4,000 hours in the game. I am telling you straight up, all SSF does is forces me to play less total classes, because typically speaking, it's harder to find magic gear than it is to find physical class gear. Like Barb and Fighter are easier to kit. So what usually ends up happening is I go to High Roller and I get ahead because, I'm playing at the efficiency of a good player. So I'm usually ahead of the curve on gear. Like I have jewelry, I have like just generally stronger stats. And then everyone else is trying to catch up to me, but the players trying to catch up don't have Marketplace. So I throw on like a super geared Barb kit that almost no one can really beat because everybody's running around in like random greens and blues and no jewelry. And it's basically just free farming for me because I have gear and they don't. But as soon as Marketplace opened, everybody was able to start buying gear and the fights felt a lot more fair and balanced. Because most people weren't even running jewelry and stuff until after market opened. So really all SSF does is give me an advantage over the players that don't play as much as me. Because I have better gear, therefore I will win more fights. And it literally just snowballs from there. Well, no, I don't love SSF because that gets boring. I should not have an insurmountable advantage just because I spend more time / I'm better at the game. there has to be an equalizer for new slash like players that play less, and Marketplace is the ultimate equalizer. Yes, good players can use Marketplace to buy better gear, but you have to look at the flip side of it, that players that are not as like not playing as much can use the market to help catch up to everybody else. So towards the end of SSF, when I'm running like crazy barb gear and I feel invincible, you know, it's really hard for the average player to catch up to me, you know? And that's what I think Reddit doesn't understand, or they don't actually like look at what I'm saying. They just go, oh, Marketplace bad. This guy bought gear and now he has better gear than me. But the reality is he would have better gear no matter what. He has better gear regardless of Marketplace. Because again, as as someone who's played this game a lot, I'm like decent at finding gear and building kits that I know are strong. So I get to the point where honestly I'm at a very big advantage over other players. So, you know, I think Marketplace is better for new and average players, like way better than some of you guys or Reddit gives credit for, you know? Yeah, Matt, you're donating a lot. I appreciate it, but you know, don't feel like you have to, man. They'd have to make jewelry again for self-found. Do you mean you want people to be able to find jewelry? Or you want or what do you mean by that exactly? Because they did make jewelry easier to craft. So hopefully you'll see more jewelry before the market opens, but regardless, yeah, if jewelry is not findable, yeah, jewelry will probably be more used by, like, you know, people like me, I imagine.
Gigantic castle, right? Okay. But now we know, like, that's right now on hold. So, okay, that's a good feedback. Okay. It's just a legacy thing that's kind of just pain point, right?
But it will be for personal
housing. Yeah, so it's, yeah, so, but...
Honestly, I think streamers would enjoy SSF more. Like, SSF is great for streamers and good players because, again, it lets you, like, get ahead of everybody else. But it gets boring, man. It's very boring trying to make content or just playing in general when I go into High Roller and everybody's running around in, like, random greens and blues that are all garbage. And I'm running around in, like, full, like, purple bis. And it feels like I can't die because I have such a big advantage. Because jewelry makes a big difference in this game, you know? So, it just, I don't know. I feel like Marketplace is not like this, you know, this bad thing that some people make it out to be. Because I as a streamer, I do benefit from SSF, but I definitely think it's more fun having a market and having everybody be able to get gear, not just me.
Well, we'll find a little adjustment. The other part of your question is there going to be new items and new weapons and new, not this season, right? So the thing is, this season was, we just wanted to make sure that, hey, show that it's a continuation of this. We're going slowly, you know, kind of one step at a time, right? So there's not going to be a lot of new content in terms of weapons and stuff. It's just like, oh, okay, did we make the right decisions? That is more of that. It's like, oh, in season 8, did we make more right decisions and wrong decisions? If, you know, and we think that we made, you know, we slowly turned it. It's like, let's keep on doing this. And so in terms of season 10, we already finished the designs for 6 new artifacts, but that's coming the
season
next
10. Yeah. Okay, so no new artifact.
You know, on the topic of artifacts, maybe this sounds greedy. I think every single weapon in the game, weapon, shield, etc., should have an artifact, like, weapon, or, you know, should have an artifact equivalent. And I think armor should have artifacts too. I think armor has been neglected a lot. I would love to see, I don't know what they would be, but I would love to see armor have some kind of artifact effects attached to them. Maybe it would become too OP at a certain point, probably. But I think it would be cool to be able to build artifacts that are not, like, just the weapon, I think it would be cool to have them on armor too.
No new. Now, with regards to like the rolls on gear, you're always kind of shifting and moving that. Or are we going to expect something similar? Is jewelry still going to be something that's crafted or found?
Well, you know, I guess I guess really, how would you do it though? How do you do it without like ruining the game balance? Because if like to a certain point, if like armor had artifact power, it could get to the point where it's impossible to balance. Because then it becomes like to the point where you're too strong. So I don't really know. It sounds like a cool idea in practice, but or a cool idea in theory, but I don't know if it would work well without actually ruining the, like, you know, the game. Because I don't even know what you would even add to gear. You know, I don't know.
And like the gold, like the one all. So it's going to be kind of similar rolls.
It's very
you're
so
liking the balance of this gear set.
Yeah, so you can look at Season 9 as like the polished version of Season 8, okay? So there's not going to be, again, we're not going to do crazy dramatic shifts now. Yeah,
But I think that will be dramatic. The party finder and ping system.
Yeah, so...
What about like cobalt armor and stuff? So that would be considered new armor. Is that...
Oh, yeah, so...
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, yeah, so the cobalt armor... so cobalt armor will come out. It was supposed to come out this season, but then there was a little bit of a kind of friction point fight. I said, sorry guys. So it'll come out next season. Yeah. So in terms of those kind of content stuff is going to be a little lackluster, right? But like what SDF alluded to, there's some actual big system feature stuff. It's not, so the problem with it is not sexy, okay? It's not like, oh man.
So I know we have minor artifacts, the purples. The problem is that arena is purple gear, so minor artifacts are nearly unusable in normal dungeons because they're too expensive. It's not worth the cost to buy a purple minor artifact, because for the cost you have to pay, you might as well buy a damn artifact. Some of those purples are insanely expensive. They're not worth the cost. Again, and it's an arena problem, because arena is purple cap. I'm not saying arena should be higher than purple. I'm just saying it just is what it is. Because you can buy minor artifact purples and use them in arena, it basically creates a system where the minor artifacts are bought and they're never lost and never put into the dungeon. You know what I mean? Like tangle threads, the staff that gives you spells on hit, stuff like that. They're just so damn expensive because of arena, and I feel like that is why they almost never see use, which is like really, really unfortunate.
And this is something that's going to be awesome, but then in the day-to-day, to the players that play often, is like, oh, these are things that are just going to make your life so much...
Quality of life.
Yeah, quality of life. So.
There was an argument that people were like, we should just have a wipe that's just purely quality of life. So you're kind of going in that direction. We're getting content, we're getting a new boss, we're getting a third floor, we're getting new skills and abilities for Rogue and Ranger, two of our most loved classes. Granted, I don't play either of them, so make the longsword stronger again. But, yeah, people will love and hate that. It's moving around, it's doing its thing. So you are going to really emphasize like balance, quality of life for this particular, and there's going to be some fun new gadgets from some classes we love. It's kind of,
so the perks and skills on some of the core classes, and then like
this might be a hot take for the arena players out there, but I'm going to say it anyway. I kind of wish that minor artifact weapons were legendary, not epic. I want them to be legendary so we can actually see them used in the game and not be price gouged to hell because you build them for arena. I don't know if that is like unfun for arena building or not, but it does feel really bad for the game to have minor artifacts being absorbed by a mode that is completely separate. And again, the loot can never be lost or like transferred, you know, because you can't lose your stuff in arena. They did it for some of the items. They like they made the, was it spectral sword, whatever the long sword is, they made that legendary. You know, I kind of, I don't know. Well, that's not a minor artifact, so I guess that's a bad example, but I don't know. I kind of wish they were higher rarity. I just want this stuff to be used in dungeon. I want it to be viable for building. I don't want it to feel like it's just, it makes no sense to ever use it because, again, it's literally just used for arena, you know?
So one of the things that's going to go in this season is something we call the party finder. I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but
I haven't heard of the party finder.
First time. This is first time.
First time.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like with the hold on the gathering hall, is that a big social aspect is kind of on hold, right? And so, and I think for sure our game, it's fun playing solo, but it's weird playing solo because it's not balanced around solo. And then, you know, the most fun is when you have an actual, you're a crew, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and so I think, so this is the other thing that we started learning as our game is that role of what exactly is an extraction shooter. It's like how hardcore do you guys want, or do we want to go and stuff? It's like, so our original kind of, hey, people that play together, we just threw them in random matchmaking.
But that not works.
It doesn't work. It works for a game like, you know, like Overwatch or, you know, thing.
Okay.
But for something that's high stakes as and that requires as much preparation as.
You know, honestly, that's a good point. That's actually a point that goes into my favor. If the whole point of arena is to have the players on a equal footing, you know, the whole point of purple gear is that you don't have legendary tier effects and, you know, stats. So why do minor artifacts exist in the first place as purple when all that does is put a giant price tag to give players an advantage in PvP in arena, when arena is supposed to be the mode that is like relatively even, you know? Because let's be real here, like tangle threads, for example, are probably always really good to have if you're like the, you know, some kind of class that wants it, like tank, maybe barb or fighter or whatever. I imagine would always want tangle threads because they're really good, but they're really, really expensive. So it does kind of feel bad from the like player perspective of like the guy that just wants to like play arena. It might feel kind of bad getting, you know, gear diffed in a sense where this guy spent like 20,000 gold on some minor artifact that, you know, is way overpriced, but you know, you kind of feel like you're supposed to buy it because you get such a big advantage in arena. And that's just like a small, I'm not saying just tangle threads, but just generally speaking, I feel like minor artifacts should just be legendary.
Extraction shooter, like especially like Dark and Darker, I was like, oh, okay, this is not a good solution, right? And so we're working on something called a party finder. It's like, oh, if you're trying to go in solo, we'll ask you. It's like, hey, but you know, the dungeons are more fun as a party. You know, hey, we'll help you find people. And so we built a system to do that. Again, it's very mechanical.
I agree with you. Having a pair of tangle threads is better than having a pair of legendaries, even if the legendary has like a perfect roll. Because the effect of the tangle threads is something that is like not obtainable otherwise, and it's a really strong effect. I'm with you there. I doubt Ironmace would ever actually do what I'm saying, but it would be so much cooler to see these minor artifacts in the game, you know, rather than them just being like giant gold sync stat check pieces of gear so people can like one up each other in like this arena mode. I don't know.
Mechanical is very just like process driven, so it's not something like, oh, this is so cool to look at.
It's not polished yet.
But
it's an option.
In the overall, like even the days where your buddies aren't on, it's like, oh, I could, you know, go through, filter, and find out people that have similar goals as me, and maybe I could make new friends, right? So we look at this as an investment. Another thing is like, okay, there are some modes where when you go in with total random people, but the communication, in-game communication. So this is another thing that's a little bit cultural too. Is especially in Asia, you have people that's all different languages. So people are a lot more shy using VoIP and stuff, right? On the Asian side, it's like, oh, okay. How do we have these people communicate? And you can't type either, right? So we're actually made a ping system now. So again, this is not
ping system.
Right now.
Hey, that's kind of nice.
So
that is
stop-
definitely
yes.
a thing.
Yeah,
that is
so-
kind of nice, especially when rogues are going to be in the ceiling. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, something, where, we have our
We don't
game
need-
where everyone gets their torch and starts paying, Why are people resorting to that?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I have this piece of this item for you. That is
yeah.
definitely the communication.
I will say, since I played Squire to Riches yesterday, a ping system would have been very, very nice for that mode. Something that's kind of unrelated, but not completely, is I think Squire to Riches, because if you're not aware, everybody starts in Ruins. When you go down to Crypts, it pulls from other games. So, like, the players you fight in Crypts were not the players that were in your Ruins game. It was it's players that were in other Ruins games, and they all went down together at the same time. That's why it's a continuous dungeon. I personally think that if you go down to Crypts or Inferno in Squire to Riches, only Squire to Riches, because it's basically already being made as a battle royale mode, your teammate should be automatically rezzed in full Squire, like the gear that they started with. I don't really feel like it makes sense for other maps to get, like, for you to fill from other maps and then be at a disadvantage because the game filled from someone else's map and now you have to fight like this trio as a solo or duo. I don't know. I don't know if that's like wrong. I feel like the res system is great for surviving to the last portal, so resing is still good. And also, if you would res with Squire, like, it's still bad. But I don't know. Maybe that's abusable. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really know. But I do kind of feel like if you're gonna make a battle royale mode already, I feel like something like that just kind of makes sense. If you were not pulling from other game mode or other games, I would say that wouldn't work. But because they're already pulling from different ongoing matches anyway, I just feel like that would make sense.
And so these kind of things are stuff that we want to put in one by one.
W's in the chat. Awesome. So we're running out of time here.
Okay.
We're about time to wrap up. I guess I should open the floor to you. Is there one last thing that I didn't cover? I actually didn't get to everything I had, and I have more, but this was wonderful. We learned a lot of really cool things. So leave it to SDF and Terry and Paul. Is there one last thing that y'all want to let everyone know, a mic drop type moment before we go and play some Squire to Riches together?
Yeah,
So there'll be more content.
Oh wait, so I saw. Okay, what about the Ember Gem?
He mentioned
Ember
that. Are you talking about? Are they talking about the thing from the Colossus?
I will go ask. So Hunter also got to meet our lead designer Jay. I'll go ask him about that. I was like, hey, what about the Ember Gem? So don't worry about that. So again, I think for this upcoming season is that there's gonna be people that play Dark and Darker, hundreds of hours. Is like, oh, we're gonna make things that it makes those little pain points a little bit easier. That's the main goal for going forward to through season 9. Season 9 is the polishing season now. Hey, let's get ready, and then.
Gathering Hall was the OG party finder until the random fill-in party feature got added. Everyone immediately stopped using Gathering Hall the same week. Yeah, so anyone who plays the game actively, like now Butterby, knows as well as I do that Gathering Hall is completely dead, and quite literally it's pretty much just used for bots to spam their gold selling sites. When I use the Gathering Hall to recruit for Squire to Riches, empty Gathering Halls, I would click on one, immediately a bot would join, spam their gold selling site, and leave the hall so quick you couldn't even block them. The Gathering Hall is completely cooked in Dark and Darker. It might as well not exist with the way it is. It's terrible. It's not regulated. It's just bad. The Ember Gem requirements for the emotes is insane. I agree with you, Matt. I 100% am with you. Requiring 10 of those fire tiers, whatever they're called. 10 tiers to unlock a mode is pretty ridiculous. I know it's very, very expensive.
Season 10, we'll have something big there with the personal housing. And then we're going to have the wizard and the cleric rework for there's going to be a lot more magic in season 10, right? So, but this season the theme is, hey, okay, let's continue building again, right? And let's continue polishing and let's make just the overall experience less painful. Okay, right. So it will be, because even for us, it's like my personal thing was like, I want to reduce the amount of mouse clicks before each iteration of going into the dungeon. So you'll notice that too.
제가 원하는 거는 preparing time 줄이는 거.
Yeah. So that's the big thing that he always comes to us, is like, why does it take so much time to get back in the dungeon? So there's gonna be some little things that we're
oh yeah, for sure. I'm completely with them here. The amount of time it takes to honestly, the biggest downside of dying, because my gear fear is long gone. That went like a year ago, probably more than that. You know, the biggest fear that I have in dungeon dying is re-kitting. It's having to click through all the different merchants, add all these meds, all this other random BS, I gotta go buy protection pots, magic pots, all this other stuff, and it takes so many clicks. And then you have to get the gear too. And getting the gear from market is honestly pretty cumbersome. I like the marketplace, but there's definitely room to improve it. It's not the worst marketplace I've seen. That probably goes to Midnight Walkers. That game probably has one of the worst marketplaces I've ever seen. But surely Dark and Darkers could definitely get some improvement on the the amount of clicks that are required. I don't know what it could be, but yeah, I would love to see a way to be able to enter dungeons a little bit quicker. However they manage to do it. Honestly, they need to decrease the number of merchants. Is there any real reason the Surgeon and the Alchemist need to exist side by side? All it does is add questing bloat, and Surgeon just sells bandages. What's even the point? Why do we even have a Surgeon? It doesn't make any sense. Exhausting is the right word. Yeah, we have 20 merchants. It's crazy. 20 merchants, and half of them feel like they don't even need to be in the game. And all of the merchants that don't need to be in the game have 30 quests that take hours upon hours to complete. And there's not even really any reason to do them. Yeah, it's really, really tiresome. Not to mention, they decided that the workshops, they were going to add 4 of them, which seems like a lot too. Having a leather workshop, clothing workshop, and a plate workshop feels like a lot. There's a lot of clicking involved in the game, you know?
Experimenting with
buying something.
Yeah, buying something, smooth that over where you don't need to do that kind of stuff. So some of the stuff you'll notice right away. You're like, wait, where did the Surgeon go? Right. So I'll tell you that, right? And then there's already 5 clicks that's removed there. Stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah. We don't have to go to the Alchemist and the Surgeon. We can go get our meds from one med merchant.
Yeah, you can sell all your stuff to the collector instead of going to...
Yeah, I actually already knew this was a topic from the Excel sheet. I don't want to sound too fortune teller here. I remembered them talking about this. I was just going on a rant. Yeah, so my understanding is that they're going to be getting rid of the Surgeon or the Alchemist or something. They're going to be doing some kind of combination. So we should hopefully have less total merchants. I just wanted to express it is really obnoxious having so many right now.
Back and forth, stuff little things like that. It's okay, now the identity of the game is we want to go back into, so we try to experiment a lot. Now it's okay, this is an expansion shooter game. Yeah, let's.
So, did you finish as well?
I want the feature for quick preparing and the preset in the square menu. So we should take many times for preparing and socketing by and some gears binding. So I know well that I also play.
Yeah. So because this season, I think like for us, we've been playing. We had a lot more chance to play and feel those pain points.
Yeah.
All the time, and we're like, oh wait, who's gonna fix this? We're like, oh wait, that's
another thing. The merchant's armor is really disorganized. Have you ever just look at the squire and tell me that it's organized, because you'd be lying to me. I feel like the way that the armor and weapons and everything is in there feels really... It almost feels like it just randomly gets thrown in there, and then you just kind of have to find what you want. I feel like it could be so much more organized than it is right now. Small stuff like that would really go a long way to making it not feel as cumbersome, I think.
That's our job. Okay, let's fix it. Yeah, so...
Awesome.
Yeah.
I really want to improve all pain points.
So with the closing of this section into a little bit of Squire to Riches from us, I want to reiterate for those who weren't here at the beginning, the end of this season is going to be absolute fire. You're not going to want to miss the arena tournament of the Warlords. There's still time to get into that rank, but the end of this season is going to be wide open arena. Artifacts, uniques, everything you find is usable. I think... Oh, wait, did you see something?
Oh, yeah, I saw something there. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to... But
Bard is not this season, it's 2 seasons away.
And then do something about the cheaters and RMTs.
So, yeah. I mentioned this earlier. Bard is pretty down bad right now. I feel like Bard has no real identity. It's really clunky to play. They nerfed Jolly Time, which was the meta-defining perk for Bard. Then they nerfed Shriek of Weakness, which is the reason to play Bard, because Shriek made PvE insanely easy. So now Bard doesn't have Shriek, and it doesn't have Jolly Time. So I don't even really know what Bard is doing anymore, and Bard isn't getting an update for at least 6 months. So I'm not even exaggerating. Bard is going to be just there for, at least the next half a year. I actually feel kind of bad for you Bard players, because you're going to be getting outshined by nearly every other class in the game because of the Jolly Time and Shriek changes. So, sucks, for sure.
So we are preparing a thing that's going to go out with EAS9.
You want to do the same?
No, we should, right? But, yeah, so that's always on the forefront of... So we know that this season was that there was heavy RMTing and then that incentivizes the cheaters, right? So it's kind of linked, right?
Yep.
And so but because of that, that gave us more insight into.
I haven't noticed a lot of cheaters when I've been playing. This might just because ignorance is bliss, and if I ever die to a cheater, I just kind of just assume that I just died anyway. But other streamers and players have told me that they've gotten a lot of cheaters banned this season. So apparently it's pretty rampant right now. I don't know if it's just ESP or what. And I don't know what servers they're really playing on. But yeah, apparently cheating has been a pretty big issue this season, from what I've been told.
Some strategies. Again, we don't want to go into too in depth because we don't want to give them preparation time. So season 9, you'll see some things that, oh wait, I have to, what is this kind of stuff? Yeah.
I didn't get to go.
Yeah, so apparently, in case you, I know it was pretty short on the video. Next season, they're going to be, they didn't tell us what, but they're going to be doing something to hopefully minimize cheating, which is great. I will say, I have noticed in High Roller that even off stream, people will be in perfect positions for third parties and whatnot. And I've definitely wondered, I wonder if that guy could see where I was with ESP. Probably didn't report as many people as I should have. again, ignorance is bliss. I just kind of assume that cheating wasn't a big issue right now. But yeah, I mean, anything to crack down on cheaters is always great, because cheating definitely like ruins games like this. You've been in dead servers where only one person is on the map and they rush exactly where I was. You know what? Honestly, a part of it is probably because I just assume it's stream snipers. Anyone that watched my Stinky Stick video will realize that one of the barbs that I killed 3 times or 4 times, and I fought them a bunch of times, it was the same exact barb, and he was rushing my spawn. I just kind of assumed it was a stream sniper, but honestly, it also could have been a cheater. You know, it was one or the other. He 100% was either in my stream watching it and spawn rushing me with stream, or he was ESPing and using that to, you know, lock in on me. One or the other. It was on stream, yes. That's why I said it could have been either or. You know? It's true. It could be both too. Yeah, like that barb, I know for a fact was doing one or the other. Like, I'm not stupid. I know he could see my stream, or I know he knew where I was. Like, I would spawn in the corner of the map, and he would be there in like 45 seconds. It was insane. This dude was like locking in on my spot every game. It was something, man. So again, I don't know if it was from stream or if it was cheating or what, but you know.
Go over a couple of the things about like getting rid of ratting and some of the, like, you know, the people that just like rat and steal loot really quickly. Y'all had mentioned something here that you maybe have a quality of life change there as well for like a lot of these streamers that go and kill people and people run and like steal their loot and run away.
Oh my god, the rats. I know this is such like a streamer problem, whatever, call it streamer privilege if you want. But when I play off stream, it is night and day. I played off stream today for about 2 hours. I played on HR. I didn't have a single rat following me throughout the game. I didn't get third-partied. I didn't get ratted. It was great. I mean, I might have got third-partied like one game, but I like recovered. But like, just generally speaking, the experience is so much better than playing on, like, playing HR on stream isn't even fun, man. It's like, I'm not even playing the game. It's crazy. I don't know what Ironmace can do, but man, does it suck ass to be like, okay, well, do I play HR on stream and have no fun, or do I play off stream and just record video footage and actually have fun? You know? Yeah, it's tough, man.
I guess instead of reminding everyone about that, did y'all have something for that in particular?
까먹이들.
예.
이거는 아직 어떻게 하고
He's got something. Our man, the hero.
네, 세븐이.
이거 어떻게 할까요? 까먹이들.
일단은 이 원희가 너무 잘 알고 있고 이 문제는.
Yeah, so he knows this intimately. He knows.
해결해야 될 것들이 많이 있어요. 우리 일단은 그 매칭 큐 부분도 많이 개선을 좀 해야 되고, 그다음에 인게임 시스템부터.
Well, no, there's ways to change and update to try to fix the stream sniping issues that don't affect legitimate gameplay. For example, you could give high roller a queue, and then at the very least, when streamers queue, you can't like just join their game in session for free because the player count is so low. At the very least, they have to join the game when you queue. And then like I could like hide my stream. I could hide my screen and like change servers and all this other stuff to reduce the chance of people joining my lobby. Whereas in the current system, the continuous dungeon just makes it really easy for anybody to join. And I would actually argue continuous dungeon is bad for the game in HR. Stream or no stream, I think it sucks. Most people that I know do not like continuous dungeon in HR. So there are 100% things that you can do to help the stream sniping stuff while also benefiting the game.
그래서 결국에는 그 리스크보다 리워드가 크니까 이쪽에 더 가게 되고 이 플레이를 하게 되거든요. 그래 이런 부분들을 조금 더 깊이 고민한 다음에 좀 해결책을 하나씩 좀 찾아갈 생각입니다.
Yeah. So he knows about the issue. So he has better tools too to start monitoring it. So he needs a little bit more time to figure out. But one of the things that he thinks is the root cause of this is that the risk reward ratio is not correct. So it incentivizes people to do that kind of behavior, right? Because oh, it's not risky. And I could get the most rewards that way, right? So he's like, oh, okay, that's a hint for him. Is like, oh, how I could approach that is make it more risky, right?
Got it. And then so last.
I mean, really, does it even make sense from a gameplay loop perspective that the game is basically incentivizing you to go in naked in the hard mode, the high roller mode, and they're never looting. They're always just there to PvP grief, right? Like they don't even open a single chest. They're just there to follow players with no risk, you know? And I don't know, is that even really like good? You know, if you want, I don't know. Again, I don't really know. I don't even know what fixes this problem. I just know it's really annoying getting chased around by rats all game. And you know, I do have rats in off stream, by the way. I do have naked rogues and druids. It's just not as bad. Like when I played for that 2 hours, I think I killed like one naked rogue that tried to third party me, but I just killed him and it was fine. And then I think I might have killed like one smoke pot caltrop rogue, but he wasn't even following me. Like I just got the jump on him and killed him when he was trying to rat other players. So the key difference is when I'm off stream, the rats are going for other players, but when I'm on stream, it feels like it's always me. So it feels worse, but the rats are always there. The rats are in every lobby pretty much, regardless if they're going for me or not. And I do think that is a problem.
I don't know how we're transitioning to the gameplay, but you're going to want to get in the dungeons to end this season. Bosses are going to be dropping more artifacts. I think they said 2 times the loot. Yeah. You already see what Luck is doing right now. There's a lot of fun stuff to get out there. There's going to be some bloodbaths out there.
We're sorry about the Luck system. So
that it's strong now, or that it was not strong before?
So there's one part where it converts it to a formula, right, that we use as a curve, and it was dividing by 1,000 instead of 100.
Yeah.
Okay?
So it's supposed to be in its current form.
We were getting gaslit for over a year of the developers telling us that Luck was working fine, there was no problem, and then it turned out that Luck was actually 10 times worse than it was supposed to be. It's been broken for probably a year or two at least. It's crazy how long it took them to fix this.
Always. Well, it's how you respond. We're there. Go get your artifacts. Go play with them in the arenas. And let's have a wonderful end of wipe as we look forward to Season 9. The Ranger, Rogue, everywhere. Get nasty, get ready. And,
it will be everywhere.
Well, there you go, fellas. That was the developer Q&A. Yeah, so this was from the, what was it, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, but they just released it today or yesterday. It was like within the last 20 hours or something. So I hadn't seen this yet, so I wanted to give it a look and kind of just see what was going on with the game. We lost the wiki partly because of this division by 1,000 instead of 100. What do you mean we lost the wiki? Oh, do you mean the fact that the wiki doesn't get updated anymore? Has anybody noticed that? The wiki barely gets touched now. Most of the info from wiki is completely outdated, and I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel that it's gonna get updated anytime soon, to be honest with you. I doubt it. They've been working on updating the wiki again. Who? Not the devs, right? You mean just like the player base in general? Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as I'm aware, the developers don't work on the wiki at all. Let's see, Dark and Darker wiki. Yeah, I feel like this is super outdated for the most part. Let's see, what about like physical damage reduction? Is this even up to date? Let's see. I think this is up to date. At least, well, I guess I wouldn't really know for sure. I'm surprised at how many people have no... Well, am I even surprised? The game doesn't really tell you, so I guess I'm not. But armor rating is just strictly worse than percentage. Once you hit a certain threshold, you need PDR percentage to like really scale. Because after 350, assuming this is up to date, I know regardless if like the numbers are exact, I know that PDR percentage is better. But yeah, once you reach a certain number, assuming this is accurate, 315 to 335, you start getting less total percentage points per armor. So percentage will always work better. You know, I started building magic resistance for Barb again because I didn't realize how well magic was scaling. So from 85 all the way to 280, you get 0.2% per MR. So just like one piece of gear with, say, 20 magic resistance is 4%. So for Barbarian, you can very easily build like 40 to 50% with just a few pieces of gear. It does make your base stats worse because magic resistance gear is like legendary. It's like 5 versus 3. So you lose 2 stats per piece of armor. But honestly, it might be worth it just to be like just way better against all casters. Because Barb is already good against casters, but if you add some extra MDR in there, it is an uphill battle against like for all the classes against you. Warlocks, warlocks, wizards, sorcerers are all gonna be just that much harder for them to kill you. Because the magic resistance just scales so easily. I think you would probably build like dashing boots, the dark weather leggings, the runestone gloves, and the barbutua helm. You could probably just wear those 4 pieces of gear and use those for magic resistance. And I think that puts you at somewhere around 45 to 50% MDR total. I think close to 50, which is very, very good. I mean, I can't like state the difference between 30 MDR, which is kind of the baseline, and 50 is a big difference when you're talking about a giant health pool like Barbarian has. It's so hard for them to kill you, man. It's really, really hard. So I think building stuff like this is something I've been kind of neglecting a little bit, and I might use this info for next season to make it even harder for casters to kill me when I play Barb. Just kind of like get the free win on them, you know? Because you figure it scales 0.2% each, whereas armor only scales by 1% each. Once you reach the, like, you know, the 315 point. It is almost twice as hard to scale PDR versus MDR. It's way harder. Honestly, with how much armor pen is in the game right now, it might be worth it to just build magic resistance over armor. Like if you're already at 50% PDR, it might be better to just go for MDR. Because everybody and their mother has armor penetration, so armor doesn't matter as much anymore. SDF, Paul, and Hunter streamed Squire to Riches after the Q&A. You could tell they don't play the game by how they were playing. Wait, Hunter? Hunter claimed that he had 7,000 hours, so if Hunter was playing bad, that's kind of crazy. I mean, Hunter's claiming to have almost twice as many hours as I have, which is insane. Why does true damage need to exist? Like, for what reason? I feel like true is not needed in this game. All true damage does is heavily lean towards scaling quick damage, which is how we had builds like Rondell Dagger Fighter, like ruining the game. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because Hunter probably shouldn't be playing anywhere near as bad as SDF and Paul. I mean, Hunter should be playing on the level that I'm playing, if not better, considering his hours. And the fact that I don't play trios. I mean, you could build Magic Pen, though. It's your choice not to build Magic Penetration. I mean, if you want to be technical, because other classes have to build Armor Pen. I mean, I don't ever see Magic players ever build Magic Pen, and you definitely could. If you don't want to deal with 50% MDR barbs, just throw some Magic Pen on your cloak and your necklace. You can easily get like 8 to 10% just from that alone. You know? Well, classes stack armor really easily, but that's counteracted by the fact that you can very easily build armor penetration, so the armor being stacked easily doesn't end up mattering that much. Shit, man, I might struggle with Berserker and Inferno. I'm a Goblin Caves player. I barely know how to do Inferno shit. Yeah, I'm not good at that. The armor scaling is too high. Is it? Though? I feel like there's so much armor pen in the game, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, shit, man, most of the weapons have 10 to 20% base armor pen. Morningstar is 15%. Warmaul has 20. Daggers have 8. I mean, rogues usually run like double dagger plus the armor pen perk. So rogues have 36% base armor pen. You know? When classes are easily building 10, 20, 30% armor pen for free, the armor doesn't matter that much. It's dirt cheap to stack armor compared to armor pen. It's not that hard to stack armor pen, though. Really. Here, I'll open the game real quick. I don't think it's that hard. Because you can just stack it on the pieces of gear that give you really high rolls. Like, you can just stack armor pen on your cloak and your necklace alone, and that'll give you, what, 8 to 10%? And then your weapon probably has another 10, 15? So you're at 20% baseline just from 2 rolls. And 20% armor pen is enough to knock 65 max PDR all the way down to 53. That's an entire health bar. Like, that's insane. Considering how quick the time to kill in this game is, I don't mind that emeralds are cheaper. Besides that, emeralds are cheaper, emeralds are cheaper because they're just not as meta. Because rubies are generally better. Because building for damage is just good. I mean, shit, man. My barb has 20 or 30% base armor pen, no gear required. Two-hander alone is 10%, and then quarterstaff is 10. My quarterstaff is 20% armor pen. My Warmaul is 30. That is just the weapons. That's it. Weapons alone is 30%. And then if you want to build, let's say, armor pen on your cloak, we go what? Let's see. Socket. Find a cloak. They all... Okay, do this one. Yeah, so you can get 3 to 4... So let's just average just the 4%. So it's 3 to 5, so let's go 4. So you get 4% armor pen on your cloak, and then you get what? On your necklace, another 4, right? Let's see. Yeah. So your cloak and your necklace gives you 8% base armor pen with just 2 rolls. Okay? So my barb, if I just, all I have to do is just build it on my cloak and necklace, my quarterstaff is already up to almost 30% armor pen. That is insane. That's super easy. What about magic pen? Should be the same, right? Should be the same stats. Yeah, magic pen uses sapphires. It's the same percentage. So you can build 8 to 10% or 6 to 10%. It's kind of a range, but let's just call it 8% as an average. You can build 8 magic pen on your cloak and necklace, and then spellbook has, is it 5%? Spellbook has 5% magic pen. So book, cloak, necklace gives you 13%. 13% takes 50% magic resistance all the way down to 43, which is like 20% HP difference, like 20% of their health pool. It's a big deal, you know. Staff as well. Magic staff is 15, right? Yeah. So magic staff is kind of like a morning star or a warmaul. If you use a staff, your base magic pen with just the cloak and necklace is almost 25%. That's more than enough, right? So let's say it's 30%. How would that remove off the 50 PDR enemy? Well, it's just basic math. So 50%, 30%. That would bring you down to 35% total PDR, which is the equivalent of about 30% of your total health pool-ish. I don't know like the exact math on it, but it's about 30%. So let's say you have 100 HP. At 50% PDR, you multiply your health by ×2, so it would be 200. At 35% PDR, that's probably about 70% increase in armor. So you're going to have 170 effective HP. So, right? Yeah. So 30% armor pen is reducing their total HP by about 30. It's actually it's almost 1 for 1. You can almost look at it like 1% fizz power if you look at it that way. Once you have 50%, and anything above 50 is more than 1% fizz power. Honestly, building for armor penetration might be more meta than building for fizz power, because a lot of times ripping armor away can be more profitable, or like can scale better if you're fighting anyone that has anything like decent armor wise. I think people just don't understand how armor works in this game, and how like armor pen like really, I just don't think people understand how like the game, like how combat works in that sense. So they don't like realize how easy it is to counter this stuff. I changed your mind? All right, well, W. There you go. Good to hear. That's also why stacking 50 MDR on Barb, like, so right now I'm at 46, and all I had to do was grab dark leather leggings, runestone gloves, and Barbicha helm. Reaching 46, it's almost like a skill check. It's like, okay, did the caster take magic pen? If yes, I have like, obviously it'll be a lot easier for him. If no, like if the wizard just decides I'm not gonna bring magic pen, we're just gonna go baseline and he'll just use a spellbook, well, all of a sudden I'm at a huge advantage because the wizard decided he didn't need magic pen and he should have brought it. So now I'm, you know, because generally speaking, most classes don't have really high MDR, but Barb is kind of the exception. because getting 75 magic resistance for free is really high. So, yeah. This game is really... Getting good at PvP in this game, partly, is all about learning the stats. Well, no. 50% PDR, penning 30% of that, it's multiplicative. So 10% armor pen on 50% is 5% each. You don't take, it's not a flat number, it's a percentage of a percentage. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's not as simple. It's not as simple as that. Exactly. People don't want to do that. Don't want to do what? Learn the game? I mean, it's just part of the game. I mean, I know the game does a really shit job at teaching this, but I feel like I go over stuff like this on stream a lot, and I make videos on this stuff. If you want to know this information, it's out there, I promise. I've definitely taught this kind of stuff a lot. Like, if you actually want to get good at this game, one of the best ways to do it is to learn how these damn stats work. Truly. Hey, here's a good example I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a real good tip. I won't even charge you for it. Ring of Finesse gives you 4 dexterity, okay? You with me? Alright. 4 dex, finesse ring. Actually, you know what? We won't use the legendary. Let's use just pretend it's purple, okay? Pretend it's purple. I need to find one that doesn't have the stat rolls, though. Give me a sec. Let me use... Do I have one? This one. Here, I'm gonna blow your mind. If you're someone who hasn't been paying attention to these stats, you're gonna be like, wow, I'm actually building wrong. All right. Okay, Ring of Finesse. 3 base dexterity. 3 dexterity is equal to about 3% action speed, okay? 36%. Well, 31.5. We throw this on, and we go to 34.3. So it's about 1 for 1, okay? Just maybe 0.9, but we're just gonna call it 1 for 1 for the sake of it's very close. So this is equal to 3% action speed, okay? The ring is 3% action speed. You have 2 choices. One, you can have a Ring of Finesse, and you can modify it, okay, for Fizz Power. Fizz Power rolls 2 to 3, or 2 to 3.2%, okay? Or you can roll action speed at 1 to 1.6%, okay? Well, what's better? Do you roll a Finesse Ring, which is base 3% action speed, and then roll Fizz Power for 3%? Or do you roll a Strength Ring? Let's just pretend this is a full Strength Ring with 3 strength total. Or do you roll that and then roll action speed? And remember, action speed only rolls to 1.5%. So this is effectively giving you more stats for the same cost. Does that make sense? Is this like, are you getting what I'm saying here? So it is more efficient to build a finesse ring and stack physical damage, because it's the same as strength, more or less, than it is to build a strength ring and stack action speed. You get more stats. It's actually double the stats. I'm not exaggerating. It's twice as good. Because action speed scales for half of what physical damage does. The HP that strength gives is so low, I still think this is right. I'm pretty confident that this is still accurate. But yeah, this is like the kind of stuff that I look into whenever I'm building kits. Because, like, why would you just willingly sack your kit and make it worse? So if you want to build a perfect ring, I would build a finesse ring and then go for Fizz damage bonus, Fizz power, and probably additional physical damage. And then for the cloak, you know, the cloak is actually opposite, and people don't realize it either. So let's say I want to build... Trying to find the one that isn't socketed, but they're all socketed. Let's do this one. That's not socketed. Okay, so cloak. Fizz power is actually only 1. If you're socketing fizz power on a cloak, you're actually trolling. You're griefing yourself. It makes no sense. If you're gonna stack on a cloak, you build armor pen, because armor pen scales higher than a ring does, because a ring builds for 2 to 3 fizz power, but a ring only builds for... Where's the armor pen at? I can't show you because it's already socketed. Shoots. This one. Armor pen's only 1.5 to 2.4%. So you get less total stats. So the way you want to do it is you want to build fizz power, fizz damage bonus, additional physical damage on your ring, and then on your cloak, you want to build for armor penetration, action speed, armor rating, because armor rating gives you up to 30. I think it's up to 30 on a cloak, whereas ring is like only 10 or 15 or something. It's very low. So those stats are higher on cloak than on ring. So basically, there are specific stat lines you want to build only for cloak and only for rings. Necklace is the same way. You should never be building fizz power on your necklace. If you're going for fizz power on your necklace, you're destroying your necklace. You're making it like bad, basically. Because 1 fizz power is just infinitely worse than 4 to 5% armor pen. It's just worse. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff you need to be looking at if you want to build a good kit. And I think a lot of newer players, even like I'm sure average players too, probably aren't even thinking of this, you know? Headshot damage high on cloak too. Yes, I'm pretty sure headshot damage is higher on cloak than rings as well. Yeah, it's not, there's more to it than just what I just told you. This isn't like the all be all, but this is like a general principle of how you should be building kits. Paul will mess up the stats in 2 weeks. Well, if it happens, it happens. Not much I can do. But if they don't change, if stats don't change for next wipe, you can use the information I just gave you to have an advantage on every other SSF player, because you're going to get to use your gems more efficiently than everybody else. Because if this guy is stacking fizz power on his cloak and his necklace like a dummy, and you're stacking action speed and armor pen, you just have an advantage. Your stats are just better, and it costs the same. You both paid the same gems, but you got better stats. So you now have an advantage, and now you're probably going to win the fight. That's how you snowball. And like that's how I get so much gear, is by learning how to build kits and, you know, also outplaying people, but you know, that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's how you snowball in this game. Well, that's part of it at least. Yeah, honestly, if you've ever been in a fight in the dungeon and you die to some guy with like 65 armor, like 65 PDR, and you go, well shit, that guy just stat checked me, and you're running full gear, the answer is probably that you built wrong. Because if you build for armor pen, that guy probably wouldn't have killed you. Super, as far as I'm aware, Squire to Riches is not getting a solo or duo mode. I think it's going to be only trios. Do I earn money through PvP? I earn all my money from PvP. I only farm in the very beginning of the season. Most of my money's from players. Yeah, I am a PvP fiend. If you wanna learn how to earn money through PvP alone, I'm your guy to watch. Pretty much. I can't kill bosses, but I can kill players. So, we got that going for us. I wonder if there's any of these on the marketplace. This potion is so rare. Yeah, I think I have the only one. Oh no, there's a few on the market now. Damn. It's still funny. I found this is I've only seen one of these the entire wipe. I found it in Fire Deep. This is very I thought it was very funny. See on marketplace too? Well, you can, it's just not as easy to it's not as neat to see as the gemsmith is. Well, yeah, so that's the issue with SSF mode. Certain classes are at a distinct disadvantage during SSF. Casters are always going to be weaker than physical classes during SSF because it's way easier to find physical gear. That's just kind of how it is. Unique rings? Yeah, there's unique ring crafting now, but that's only for the rich. Yeah, only the rich players get to do that. Because you have to get the workshop to max, I think, right? I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, you know what? I think I'm wrong. I think you can craft it from the jewelry merchant, not the workshop. It's still I think it's still expensive to craft, though. So that's partly right. Yeah, you can definitely craft rings. I just don't have access to them. I haven't unlocked it, and I probably won't. I can only craft up the legendary. I never did anything past that. Yeah, honestly, I think the rogue players that say that they can't kill fighters are just building wrong. Because any rogue that knows how to build a kit can easily... Like, you can build base 36% armor pen. That's enough to shred basically any PDR fighter in the game in 3 or 4 hits, maybe 3 to 5 hits. And if you stack anything extra, like when you're cloaking your necklace, you're just cooking, man. Armor pen is good even if they're not high PDR. Even 40 to 50% PDR, it's still good to have armor pen. Armor pen is only bad if they're running like 20 to 30%, and most HR players are building for minimum 40 plus. Most players are, at least. Well, Rogue is at movement speed cap. Rogue can use ambush twice to reach speed cap because they gain 10% speed. So Rogue should be able to get away from fighters and barbs if they play correctly. Well, no, I'm talking about geared rogues, though. Squire is very imbalanced in the fact that I think certain classes are at an advantage. Like, Squire Barb is better than Squire Rogue. I'm talking about gear. Like, I'm talking full purple, full legendary HR PvP. That's where Rogue is shining, not Squire. It's very different. Well, physical damage bonus is good too, but you just build both. That's why I said on your rings, you stack fizz. Like, this is a perfect, well, it's almost perfect. I didn't stat this myself, but this is almost a perfect ring. It's got 2 fizz power rolls. It's got the dexterity baseline, which I think is honestly the best ring stat. It has the additional fizz. The action speed is like kind of questionable. I don't know what else you would want to stat because usually I don't really build legendary rings. I'm usually doing purple. So I just go additional fizz, fizz power, fizz damage bonus. I guess the action speed's fine. But yeah, like these are technically perfect rings. And I didn't build these. Whoever built these knows what they're doing. Like I killed like a barb that had like a really good kit, you know? Well, the wipe is in 2 weeks, Kai. So we'll know more in 2 weeks whether, you know, how good the game is gonna be. I'm gonna be going to bed as well, by the way. It's pretty late for me. I just wanted to stream the Q&A before I went to bed. Also, I guess I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I wanted you guys to actually understand how these stats work, because if you don't know how the stats work, you're probably building wrong anyway. So it's good to know. Also, I saw a Reddit post that talked about this information, and the Reddit people were like shitting on him, telling him that like he shouldn't tell them how to play the game or something. which really just sums up Reddit in a nutshell. The Reddit players just don't want to learn how to play the game, they just want to complain. So hopefully you're more open-minded than the guys on Reddit are. So now you can use that info to your advantage. And you build HP effectively. Buckled boots. Necklace of Peace. And if you have it, Frostwalker skin. Frostwalker skin gives you 3 max health. And the Finesse ring gives you 3% action speed base for a purple. So if you look at it that way, a purple Finesse ring kind of gives you 6 HP. Like if you look at it, you know what I mean? So Frostwalker skin is actually kind of bis, because the action speed you lose is less valuable than the max HP. So I like to go Frostwalker skin, and then go for Buckled Boots, Necklace of Peace, and then like just grab Vigor wherever you can. Isn't action speed better than any physical power bonus stats? Well, yeah, but it's the fact that rings scale physical damage better than the other pieces of gear. So a ring rolls 2 to 3 fizz power, but only rolls like 1 to 1.5% action speed. Whereas a necklace rolls 1 fizz power, but it rolls like 3 action speed. So you roll action speed on your necklace, action speed on your cloak, because you get more value out of your gems. And then you go for fizz power on your rings because it scales higher. Because you still want fizz power. You want both. That's why you grab the Ring of Finesse that has base action speed because of dexterity, and then you grab the fizz power. You know? Basically, if I had a choice, I would always go Ring of Finesse. Always. But it's not always an option because, you know, if I have strength rings or vigor rings lying around, I'll use those, you know? So, yeah. Hopefully that answers that for you. Yeah, you know what's unfortunate? This kind of information isn't even on YouTube. Like, everything I just gave you over the last 30, 20 minutes or whatever, you could not find that on YouTube if you wanted to. I legitimately don't think there is a single guide that could tell you the stat distribution that I just don't think it exists. If there is, I've never seen it. It's kind of is what it is. I mean, it's no wonder that new players struggle so much. Think of all that information I have just locked away in my head that I use to like win fights that they don't even know. There's no way for them to know because the game doesn't teach you anything. Yeah, that's just all game knowledge right there. Pretty much. Without movement speed, you can't kill anyone. It's kind of frustrating. Well, yeah, movement speed's a big part of the game. That's why I always try to go for the movement speed skills, such as like rage or sprint or adrenaline rush or ambush. Stuff like that feels very like needed. You feel like nowadays most games don't have a proper wiki with information? That might be true. I'm not really sure. I think it depends on how popular the game is. More popular games, I think, are usually pretty good at having wikis. So make them into videos. The Fireside Yap sessions where I info dump. You want to watch them? I could make that into a video, honestly. I could probably rip that entire conversation from stream and just post it on YouTube, honestly. Because I feel like I went over a lot of info there. So I guess I could, but you know, we'll see. Alright guys, I'm gonna head off. It's like almost midnight for me. Thank you all for watching the stream. Hopefully you enjoyed the Q&A, you know, the Q&A overview. And I look forward to the next wipe. Have a good night, everybody. If you're on YouTube, don't mind liking the video before you go. I'd appreciate it. Helps the VOD. So thanks in advance. If you're on Twitch, drop a follow, and I will see you guys soon. All right. GG's. Catch you later. Peace out.